Yo, yo, yo. Good day to y'all, wherever the time may be. I'm here to have some fun with y'all today, because there's no racing today. Guys, we gotta get off dose of racing somehow. Somehow, we gotta do that. So we're gonna jump into some videos I've been postponing for a while. Maybe one or two videos today. I don't know how many we're gonna get through. But we're gonna start with Mark Martin. I've been wanting to watch this video for a long time. We're gonna start with that first, and then maybe some shorter ones. I don't know. However the day goes, is the way the day will go. What up, Dom? What's that name? I got told off the last time I did a live reaction that I was reading the comment a bit too much. I thought that's what you do in live when you're streaming, right? You read the comment. I'm having a fantastic day, my guy. How are you doing? But yeah, I got told off for reading comments. I didn't understand it. We're up in here. Hell yeah! Look at the crew. The crew is turning up. Get into the action. Hey, I hope you guys are having a fantastic weekend. I've had a lovely weekend. Busy weekend. I had a barbecue yesterday, and I went swimming today. And yeah, the whole day's gone. And now I'm here, ready to rock and roll again with you, ladies and gents. So yes, let's get the greetings. The off weekend is miserable, not gonna lie. That's the word for it, the off weekend. Yes, I should have said the off weekend. I said no race weekend. What's going on, Lapis? What's going on, guys? I know no race, bro. There's no Formula One either. Formula One is gone. Summer break. They are depriving us of action. I know. Oh, it is miserable. But we are gonna entertain ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Fret not. Onk is here to make a fool of himself, because all these bits I'm able to cut out in my editing, I can't cut it out because it's gonna be live. Of Atlanta, I've not heard about that. They do things like that all the time, like driving through the streets of places. It's too far away from it for me to bother about it. The 24 hours of Sebring is today. Oof, I don't even know about that one. Man, that's cool. 24 hours. There's always a race though, to be honest. But it's just our favorite ones are not on this weekend. Which is like, what do you do with your life when there's no Formula One and there's no NASCAR? Bruv, what do you do? It's a horrible feeling, man. I've been all day. I even tried to play FIFA. I tried to play FIFA, guys. I played one game to about halfway and it was too easy and I turned it off. Then I tried to play Assetto Corsa on my PlayStation. Horrible decision. Turned that off as well. Good morning from Queens, Maryland. Damn, you far away, bro. Damn, that's far. Red Bull event in Atlanta. Oh, so it's just gonna be the Red Bull cars. They do that all the time, especially Red Bull. They did it on the bridge somewhere as well. Max Reeves on. I suggested a longer video. The Goats of NASCAR Discord. It is on my list. Let me see. The GOAT. Who's the GOAT? This one's like 2 hours long. I said we'll start with something light. Maybe next time we'll do the 2 hours. I did save it. Let's do the Mark Martin because I like to know about the drivers. Let's get Mark Martin because I've been hearing his name so many times, but we haven't really got into it. And then somebody suggested this as well in the post that I made yesterday. I don't know. Mark is still great. Hell yeah, dumb. Twin Spinner, what's going on, bro? What's good, everybody? What's good? Mark is the greatest to never win a championship. Yeah, I think we're about to find out here. Is it a sad story? This one is the history of NASCAR's greatest protagonist. Is a GOAT in his own right. Okay. I'm ready for this one. So, I'm ready, guys. Shall I jump in? But I do like the idea. Oh, maybe. Oh, wait. Who is the NASCAR GOAT?
Disagreement. Arguments come up on every single strategy, controversy.
Should I just come into a 2 hour? Should we do a quick a poll to see which one we go for? Wait, why is this broken? All right, let me do a quick poll. But 2 hours is long though. Start a poll. Wait, that's not how you do that. Question, isn't it? I need to do Q&A. Is it Q&A? Oh my god, I've lost my mind. Ah, okay, yeah. Poll. All right. Mark Martin or what was the other one? NASCAR's GOAT. Who is the GOAT? But we all understand what I'm talking about. All right. Let's vote it in and we decide which one to watch.
On every single strategy, controversy,
wait,
and
there's
rivalry.
Many things. Shut up. Wait, we're not sorted yet. Oh my gosh, NASCAR GOAT is getting 100% right now. I'm gonna look away and not look at that. Let me read the chat quickly. Let's see what's going on. I'm gonna give the poll another minute because I don't want it to be too long before we get into some action. So starting now, 1 more minute. All right. So let me get into everybody. What are we talking about? Mark was crazy, dominate in O'Reilly until Kyle Busch. How long you plan to stream? I'm thinking maybe 3 hours, something like that, or 2 hours, because it's already 7 p.m. I was trying to do it later so that everybody can be awake. Because if I was gonna do it UK time, man, I would have done it like early. Jimmy Johnson is the GOAT. It's not hot to take though. A lot of people love Jimmy Johnson being the GOAT, but I feel like the GOATest of the GOATest is probably what's his name? The guy with the hat. I forgot his name. Kyle Busch is the GOAT. He didn't win the Daytona 500 though. How do you describe the GOAT though? Because they only won 2 championships, right? Exactly. He's only won 2 championships. It's hard to make a decision on that. Richard Petty, that's the name, Mr. Petty himself. With all the dubs. I feel like in this day and age, you have to have the equivalent of the 7 world titles to be considered one of the GOATs. You need to be up there. Paris has won more races in NASCAR than anyone. Ooh. Damn. See? Nah, this is wild. That's a great argument though. If you won a whole bunch of races, Gordon is my favorite. Oh, there is a lot of people's favorites, but does that make them the GOATs though? Gordon is badass. I mean, Gordon is famous. Oh, time's up, and it looks like Mark Martin has won this challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna jump into Mark Martin. Yes, let's get it on. All right, if I don't look at the chat for a while, I do apologize because I've been told off before. But
what you're looking at is one of the greatest seasons any driver has ever put together in my lifetime. These numbers are championship caliber in any era of NASCAR. An absurd average starting position of 5.4 and an
Wait, whose is this? 1.3 million. Jeez, Kyle won 234 and Petty won 200. But according to what I did the other day, there were records that was missing back in the days. Are you sure we recorded all the wins for Mr. Petty? Because his wins might have been, you know, hidden. There's so many over the generations. That's what causes the problem, the arguments, isn't it? It's the generational. It's all different. Maybe we should have goats for each generation. 70s, 80s, 90s, thousands. You know, have different goats. Then the arguments will be different because they all drove different cars as well. Anyway, let me get into this video. What have I missed? Mark Martin.
What you're
29
looking
races
at is one of the greatest seasons any driver has ever put together.
Oh, okay. We're talking about just one race, one season. Sorry. Okay.
In my lifetime, these numbers are championship
3
caliber
wins.
in any era of NASCAR. And
Out of 29 races, it was up there 23 times in the top 10. That is absolutely ridiculous. This compared to the one I was watching recently about the worst drivers that do 300 races or 200 plus races and never got a single top 10. It's mental. And in 1 year, it made 1.3 million. Ooh-wee.
an
It's not
absurd
bad
average
for a
starting
year,
position
is
of
it?
5.4 and an average finish of 6.6. And to think, this guy did this with just 3 poles and 3 wins. That means he was ridiculously consistent, week in and week out for 29 straight weeks of competition. This guy must have
That
won the
was good.
championship easily, right?
Wrong. Damn. Dale snatched it from him. But it makes sense though. Yes, it was consistent, but look at the record of Dale. Dale had a whole bunch. Wait, laps led, less laps led. Wait, no. He did less. Wait, what? He did less laps, but he led more laps. It was just at the front. He just sat at the front. He was just riding at the front, and everybody was riding behind him.
This just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't add up. No, really, it doesn't add up. The points literally don't add up. We're 46 points short. What the hell happened?
Is this gonna be one of those
part one
ones
of
that blows your head? Like, because how the hell are the points not adding
an
up?
ongoing series that I'm going to call the Mark Martin Apologetics Tour, where I go over all 5 of Mark Martin's championship runner-up seasons. I don't know when the successive parts are going to come out. I don't really have a timetable in mind because this series exists solely for my own benefit. And you're
Oh, yes. This is broken down into several videos. So we're just going to watch the whole thing in one go. All right, I'm down with it.
just along for the ride, so welcome
Guys,
aboard.
get your drinks,
The point
get
of
your
this series
popcorns,
isn't
let's
to
get
poke
it on.
fun at anybody or open up old wounds. It is merely a series meant to show the average NASCAR fan or passerby what it was like being a fan of the man that most people know as the greatest driver to never wear the crown. And whether you agree with that distinction or not, by the time this series wraps up, even if Mark Martin isn't your favorite race car driver of all time, I hope you will agree with me that he is NASCAR's greatest protagonist. No man was so beloved by so many people, fans
That
and
is so
drivers
sad,
alike.
though.
So, let's get into it. The fact that we're discussing Mark Martin making a championship run in NASCAR's top division in 1990 is honestly a miracle. No
How many times did they end up in second place? How many times was it the bridesmaid, but didn't get the, you know, the bouquet to be the bride for the next year?
one, not even Mark himself, thought he'd ever get here just a few years ago. Because in 1983, by all accounts, his career was dead at the scene. Coming from the late model short track
5
scene of
times.
Arkansas, Mark
Wait.
had garnered a reputation by age 15 for overperforming and defeating local legends left and right in his red and white number 2. Why the number 2? Well, he thought number 1 was
Hold on, wait a minute. So I'm guessing these are the years then. Also 1990, 94, 98, 2010, 2009, even up until 2009. That's quite recent. More second place finishes than race wins. Oh my goodness gracious.
Mark Martin making a championship run in NASCAR's top division in 1990 is honestly a miracle. No one, not even Mark himself, thought he'd ever get here just a few years ago. Because in 1983, by all accounts, his career was dead at the scene. Coming from the late model short track scene of Arkansas, Mark had garnered a reputation by age 15 for overperforming and defeating local legends left and right in his red and white number 2. Why the number 2? Well, he thought number 1 was just a bit too cocky and brash, so he opted for a less assuming number.
Oh, he jinxed himself. He jinxed himself. He should have gone with that number 1. I mean, number 1 is not really working well for, what's his name right now? Lando Norris. He's chosen the number 1 title, and it's not doing too well. But, oh man, he jinxed himself. He took number 2, and now he's number 2 forever. Exactly. He's probably won more races than a lot of people that are considered GOATs now, but just never won the championship. So does that take him out of the GOATs conversation? I don't know.
In 1981, he entered a few races at the short tracks on the Cup schedule and had instant success, nabbing 2 poles and a top 5 for his efforts. He skipped the lower divisions for the most part and has come fresh out of the American Speed Association, a Midwestern-based late model touring series. He is just astounded at his early success as everybody else. He had been told that this was going to be a different beast than what he was used to, but it seems like a breeze so far. He's an owner driver and is extremely hands-on and innovative when it comes to setting up his race cars. So innovative, in fact, that he became semi-famous in mechanic circles for running a car with no right rear spring at Winchester and shattering the track record. When he qualified 5th for his first race ever in the Cup Series, legendary crew chief Jake Elder asked the new kid, who he had never seen before, about his setup.
That's what's missing from today's, like, the mustache is gone. Yeah, they can't choose to use the number 1 if you've won the championship, so you can use the number 1, or you can stick with your original number if you want to. I think sometimes some drivers would accept the number 1 and run it the whole year, and some other people, like I think Lewis Hamilton, only ran it for like the first race or something, and then went back to his 44. So it is there. He did use it. I think he did it for like promotion videos or something. It ran the number 1, but yeah, it didn't really use it.
He's perplexed as to why Mark Martin only has 2 gauges in his car, and then follows up with the question, hey, how much lead you got in this thing? Typically, most cars run about 150 pounds of left side ballast to help the cars turn better. But Mark, who ran absurd outside-the-box setups, just shrugs and says, I don't know, about 400 pounds, I think? Jake Elder just laughs and walks away. Later at his shop, Mark's tearing down his car getting it ready for the next race, and discovers he wasn't running 400 pounds of ballast, it was 600 pounds. Mark's got a lot on his plate.
How the hell did they get so much ballast in the car? Also, do drivers today even touch their own cars in the garage? Because it looks, back in the days, they were so involved. They would be in there tinkering away, trying to make it faster. But now they just get the mechanic to do whatever they gotta do. So I'm just curious, like, I'm sure they have inputs, right? But they just don't get their hands dirty anymore. Yeah. They'll just walk around, have a look at the computer, say, yes, I need to adjust my brake balance or something. They just drive the thing. Oh, it's so different back in the days. Owner drivers only. Okay. Too many sponsors obligation nowadays. That is true, because they be walking around signing hats and t-shirts and the full shebang. Yeah, true.
As he sets out to go full-time in 1982, but he's taking advantage of a model change from the 1981 season. The wheelbases and tread widths were shortened, and the cars were more compact and harder to drive. And nobody has these things fully figured out yet. He also has a sponsorship lined up with Apache Stove, who promises $50,000 throughout the year. But as the first few races come and go, Apache Stove goes bankrupt, and Mark never got a dime. By the end of the year, Mark is broke, and a late season collapse means that he didn't even win the Rookie of the Year title. He sells off everything he has left in 1983 to settle his debts, and takes a ride with JD Stacy, who is gaining a reputation as a huckster and an unscrupulous car owner. JD eventually ousts Mark for poor performance, but his numbers were fairly solid and his DNFs were usually caused by equipment failure.
Was it broke, as in rich people broke, or you and me kind of broke? Because if I'm broke, I'm broke. But when rich people go broke, they're not broke. It's like, what's his name? Floyd Mayweather. People are saying he's broke and he holds taxes, but he's still sitting on millions, if not billions. So was it that level of broke? They had to go up and fix it. Oh, he was broke. Okay. Because boy, it's a different postcode. Because when I'm broke, I know I'm broke. Just normal guys, just driving cars and having fun. Damn. Yeah, that would never happen now. He's not rich enough to do that. All right. Thank you,
Mark
guys.
floundered around driving for a few different teams, but by the end of the season, he's fed up and quits his dreams of being a NASCAR star. Mark had sold everything to get his Cup program off the ground, and all of his ASA equipment was gone. He wants to drop back and race in the ASA series again. And during his heyday in that series, there was a program available where drivers with a lot of clout and talent could get free cars from constructors up front and work out payments through winnings and sponsors later. Mark calls up his old partner Ray Dillon in North Liberty, Indiana for a ride. Ray seems confused on the phone, and then eventually tells Mark the days of free cars are over. Mark Martin will have to completely restart his entire racing career from...
He can't even get a loan. God damn. He said, I've sold everything I own. See, this is the problem. Sometimes the grass is not green on the other side. So he's chilling, winning in his series, and then he decided to move up a little bit and then got spanked in the ass and then had to sell everything. And now he can't even get into a car. No loans, no nothing, no pay. Bro, he can't even put it on layaway or anything like that. That's mental. That is mental. Yes, Kyle, we're watching about Mark Martin, bro. Oh my gosh. He's struggling is what it is right now. He's a struggling man.
From scratch.
Damn.
Mark had taken the chance moving up to the Cup Series on the assumption that he would always be able to go back. But now, even that opportunity's gone. This will be a complete reset of his career.
My goodness gracious. So what did he do in these years then? Because the years are flying by, but what did he do? Did he do some other races or anything? Or was he just trying to make money, go back to work, you know, get all the labor, sweat, tears and all that, couple up some money and get into the racing scene back in 1990 when he started winning again? Not winning again. Shoot. Oh, he did win.
By the time 1986 wraps up, Mark is more or less back on his feet. He won the ASA title that year and made a few more random starts in Cup races, but nothing of note comes up. In 1987, Mark gets a full-time ride in the Busch Series, now the Xfinity Series. His team is small. They have just 2 cars, a short track car and a speedway.
Fat boys. Oh, the things you could never put on a car in 2026. You put fat boys, fat girls on there, you're getting cancelled. I love this. I want to grow up back in the days, man. This shit was nice. It drove the local series. Yeah, it was hustling in the back end, bro. It was hustling.
Car and an open trailer. But Mark won 3 races and finished top 10 in the points. His plans for 1988 are up in the air, but he's about to be tapped to drive what will be one of the most iconic rides in NASCAR history. Jack Roush was a Ford loyalist who had made a name for himself in different road racing series across North America. And
Roush, that is the performance part for Ford now, isn't it? That's the name of some performance sort of section of Ford. I don't know much about Ford, but I think I know the name Roush. Obviously, you just mentioned Ford. What cars have the Roush then? Like the Mustang? Is there a Roush Mustang or something? I don't know. Ford engines. Yo! Roush Fenway Keselowski. Okay.
In 1988, he wants to tackle NASCAR racing. It's a hell of a jump, but he's got the backing of Ford and all of his sponsors lined up, with the personnel to see it through. The only thing he needs now is a driver. Wanting someone with experience in a past champion's provisional, he tries to coax Bobby Allison to drive his number 6 car, but Bobby declines and already has a deal with the Stavola brothers worked out.
Thanks, guys.
He points Jack towards a good fit for his operation, though. He shockingly name drops the 4-time ASA champion from Arkansas, Mark Martin. Jack Roush is perplexed, but Bobby thinks Mark deserves a second shot and pushes hard for Jack to pull the trigger on the short tracker. Jack Roush, not really knowing anybody else for the job, agrees and gives Mark the best phone call of his life. It also didn't hurt that Mark was a cheap date and hungry for work. First chances are rare in this line of work, and second chances are even rarer still. But Mark rises from the ashes and goes full-time in 1988.
If I was gonna come back, if I was Mark, I'm putting in the contract, listen, you don't get to fire me ever. Because I'm not going back to the lower series. No chance. Till death do us part. We're signing this agreement. We are married. I'm not going to sell everything and come back to bullshit. That's what I'm doing.
driving the Stroh's Light number 6 Ford Thunderbird. They kinda sucked, but hey, it was a new team. They're trying to get their sea legs underneath them. They were fairly fast, but horrendously inconsistent. They did manage to nab a pole that year despite an average finishing position of 19th. They were mostly known for blowing a lot of engines, and I mean a lot of engines. For most teams, a blown motor or two could end the whole operation, especially for a young startup. But Jack Roush has deep pockets and a penchant for horsepower, so he keeps his nose to the grindstone and orders the team to go full speed ahead.
It must be nice to have deep pockets. You're blowing engine, another one, that's all right. We'll just throw another engine in there. Don't worry. Send it. Kaboom. I have to put another one in there. And other teams, you have like 2 engines in the whole year and you start crying. And that is why they've put a cost cap in F1. Because some teams, they were throwing money at them cars like there was no tomorrow. But yeah, the other teams are struggling.
Have 10 DNFs on the year, 4 of which were engine failures, and they would also fail to finish the last 3 races in a row. In 1989, they go back to the drawing board, and holy shit does it pay off. 6 poles, 14 top 5s, only 3 engine failures this time and 4 DNFs overall, but the biggest triumph, win number 1 for an Arkansas kid with a new lease on life, who everybody except Bobby Allison had written off. 7 years ago, it was unthinkable that he'd ever get to this point, but now it seems inevitable that the young man will go on to do great things. He finishes the year 3rd in points.
Wait, that wasn't what it looked like back in. Was that him back in the 90? He was already old at that point. How old is he now? Because he was still racing up until 2009.
And will go on to do great things. He finished.
Look how old he is.
Finishes the year 3rd in points. And to think, next year is going to be even better.
Wait, he's 89 years old. Holy camole. Holy shitballs. This time, he was already old. And then to still be driving in 2009. Oh my gosh. He always looked old. Oh, dude, 67. And that was 1989. Oh, Lordy, Lord, I need a hat. I need to blow myself because I'm like, Jesus, what the hell? Somebody said 89, bro. 67. Okay. The order has been restored. Let's. Ooh. Oh my gosh.
So how do we go from breaking stuff nearly every other week to competing for championships? Besides Mark Barton and Jack Roush, there's 2 other very important men in this equation that you should know about. Steve Meal was essentially the general manager of the team, who helped Jack Roush put all the necessary pieces in place. He has a substantial body of work in the upstate New York racing scene, and he brings in his childhood friend Robin Pemberton to crew chief the car. The two had great chemistry together, and not only that, but they knew what they were doing. They pretty much call all of the shots and have Jack sign the checks to get the necessary funds to see it through. After a forgettable Daytona 500, the team packs up for the freezing cold Richmond Fairgrounds and runs 3rd pretty much all day. A late caution after a long green flag stint forces everybody to pit, and Pemberton makes the call to go for right side tires only, so Mark can restart up front, thinking that this would secure an extra 5 bonus points for leading a lap. At worst, Mark would get swallowed up by Dale and Rusty and would still end up finishing 3rd. But that didn't happen. Mark muscles the car around the track, puts some distance between himself and 2nd, and wins race number 2 of his career. This would go on to be a trend for his 1990 campaign.
Imagine that. They were not even expecting him to win. They do a strategy, send him out, Hail Mary. Yeah, you just get some points, and then he wins the race. Absolutely beautiful.
Playing it safe for points, and wins more or less just kind of fall in their lap. They are opportunists. They're not going out there just to kick faces in and make a statement. This strategy worked for the likes of Lee Petty and Bob Wellborn in the early days, and for Alan Prost in F1, so why not them too? However, in the tech shed after the race, Richard Childress is with a NASCAR official and is pointing at something on the number 6 car's motor. Eventually, the official makes the call, an illegal carburetor spacer that would cost the team $40,000 and 46 points.
Oh, really? He snitched. He snitched. He put a Red Bull. That's what Red Bull be doing. He snitched on his ass. He said, hey, but how did he know that the carburetor had illegal spaces from the outside? How the hell did he know? How the hell did he know that? Okay, it's wild that this sort of thing is happening. Like, he must have heard the mechanics discussing it or something, because you wouldn't know, because you're not even looking at the engine, are you?
Equivalent to finishing a lap down. Okay, so the spacer was about half an inch taller than what was allowed at the time. Back in the day, a savvy mechanic could use this to cheat and leak extra air into the engine, but there was one problem. That's only if the spacer was bolted into place, but this spacer was welded, meaning that no air could have possibly got in. Plus, the team had been running the taller spacer since last year, and had never been bought for it before. And even after they tested it, the extra height never produced any extra horsepower. It was just easier to build that way.
So why
they
they
had
ban
essentially been penalized for a gray area rule that had never been enforced before. Pemberton and Meal protest the penalty and want it reduced at the very least. But Senior Vice President of Operations of NASCAR, Les Richter, upholds the decision and says to the Roush team, if you lose this championship, you had best lose it by more than 46 points. Benny Parsons the next week has some choice words for the harsh penalty.
They fined him $40,000 and 46 points. I mean, that's like hanging a guy for shoplifting.
That is ridiculous. I do not agree with that. Oh, so is it because they love somebody else? They don't want him to win because of I'm not gonna keep going back to Formula One, but that's what they're doing to Lewis Hamilton right now. They don't want him to succeed. They keep finding him and banning him, and well, not banning him. They keep sending him back to the back of the grid because they don't like him. They've never liked him. But anyway, that's a different story for another day.
Even still, the Roushketeers have 27 races still left to run and plenty of time to make up the deficit. They drop a cylinder at Rockingham the next week and finish 26th with a DNF, but bounce right back at Atlanta with a top 5 and never have another DNF all season. Their worst finish from here on out will be 14th. They will finish outside the top 10 just 4 times. At week 12 in Sonoma, they finish second and take the points lead. They'd hold on to it until week 27. They get their second win of the year at Michigan, and in September they take a rare opportunity to pounce on the man in second, Dale Earnhardt. And Mark wins a dogfight with the Intimidator to pad out its points lead just a little bit more. Dale Earnhardt has had to claw his way up the points all year, and by the halfway point he is finally in second. Sometimes he is just as little as 1 point back of Mark.
I knew it.
Finish is always right around the corner for him. He makes up for it by winning 9 races on the season compared to Mark's 3. And Dale's average finish is a respectable 8.0. But late in the year at the second to last race, Dale wins at Phoenix and finishes just a few spots ahead of Mark in the finale at Atlanta to win the Cup. The margin of victory, just 26 points.
Damn. That 46 points or however many points that they took away from him, it would have won the championship. They killed his momentum completely. Oh my goodness
Les
gracious.
Richter's words just seem all the more ominous now. But Mark, even to this day, doesn't see it that way. They had all year to make up for that penalty and couldn't get those few extra points. There were opportunities here and there that they didn't take, and eventually all those few little points scattered across the season would come back to bite them. Even still, the team believes they can get one of these championships eventually. No need to get down in the dumps now. At the time, this was just Dale's 4th championship ever. Eventually, he'd go
what did I just do?
on to be arguably the greatest driver
How the hell did this happen?
of his era.
Oh, just 4 championships. You know, some people are trying to win 1 championship, and they say just 4 championships, bruv. Oh my gosh.
Just Dale's 4th championship ever. Eventually, he'd go on to be arguably the greatest driver of his era, if not of all time. With just 76 wins in total under his belt, he nabbed 7 championships in 14 years. And for his final cup, he will have to do battle with the Arkansas Kid just one more time. Surely with so much success in such a short period, Roush's merry band of men could pull off the upset if given a second opportunity, right? Up next, Trouble in Paradise delays the inevitable.
The inevitable.
Describes his 1991 and 92 seasons as forgettable, and 1994 wasn't any better. Most fans of his can rattle off 4 or 5 of his runner-up finishes, but they will always have trouble with this one, the one that even Mark himself brushes off. No, seriously, on his podcast where he talks about every season of his career, he combined the 1994, 95, and 96 seasons all together, and even then it's still about the average length of one episode. To him, these years just didn't matter that much.
Oh wow, so every year he's done an episode on each year, and then 94 to 96 just in one, because they can't be asked to go through those years individually. I get it. I don't even know what happened in it, but it must have been so bad that he don't even want to talk about it at length, you know. I just go here, what's going on? Hey, we are checking out videos of NASCAR. Today we're looking at Mark Martin.
in the grand scheme of things. And who am I to disagree? So let's just skip this one and move on with the series. So yeah, that's the end of this video, folks. Until next time, y'all take it easy.
Oh, end of the first video. All right.
No. Sorry. Come back. Sorry. There's a lot to talk about here. So go ahead and take a seat and let's get into it.
If you wouldn't mind just taking your seats again, please, that would be fantastic. Take your seat, take your fucking seats.
We ain't going nowhere.
In 1991 and 1992, Mark got a combined 3 wins, and neither year was all that remarkable. They were never really in the hunt for the title at any point, although they finished 6th in the points both times, and Mark was even mathematically eligible for the Cup at the final race in 1992. But he pretty much needed for everybody ahead of him to wreck out in the first 50 laps, go out, win, and lead the most laps himself. But even if that had happened, Mark ended up with a mechanical failure in that race and ended up way back in the field. I've talked about the 1992 finale to death on this channel. If you want to watch those videos, they're in the description, so I'll spare you the details. But rather importantly, between the 1991 and 92 seasons, Mark gets a new sponsor and some eye-catching colors to sport for the rest of the decade. The now iconic red, white, and blue Valvoline scheme. A paint job so memorable that even to this day, others are still taking inspiration from it or just straight up copying it. But right out of the gate, it doesn't seem to be inspiring any better performance. However, what is a big change from the last few years is Mark's ever-growing fan base, which by 1993 includes me too. Mark is now a household name in the NASCAR-loving South. In the span of a year or two, he went from a nobody to one of the sport's biggest stars.
Wow.
And all without the help of the internet too. He's a fan favorite and rightly...
That jab about the internet is crazy. Yeah, back in the days, everybody just did their own thing, man. There was, well, you have to probably go on a radio channel or a radio show to advertise yourself, but no, internet is crazy.
So, in an era of Dale Earnhardt, Jeff Bodine, Rusty Wallace, and Darrell Waltrip all going at it and wrecking each other every chance they got, it was nice to see a guy who was squeaky clean and let his driving do the talking for him. If Mark beat your driver, then you had no right to be mad. Mark was just flat out better that day. He didn't wreck his opponents, take cheap shots, or cheat. And even
I like him already. Clean driver, no drama. Hell yeah. We know somebody out there that was never clean, that used to take people out. You know, what they call him, the shark? Jaws?
that one time he did, it was proven that it didn't help him. It was just an honest-to-God oversight by his crew. You just couldn't make up excuses against him. And that, in turn, drew in more fans. But in 1993, there's trouble in paradise. Despite wins and respectable points finishes, Mark is starting to get unhappy with the team. The way Roush Racing worked at the time, and even worked all the way up until Mark left in 2006, was pretty demanding of the driver. Mark wasn't just a steering wheel technician and pedal operator. He was neck deep in the operations of his own team. He got to pick his own crew chief and even his pit crew members. If one guy was falling short, it was up to Mark to go out and find a replacement. Hell, if he even wanted so much as a fan installed on his car, he had to go out and procure one from somewhere and mount it and wire it to the battery himself.
Okay, was he doing too much? It sounds like he was doing too much. You don't need to be that hands-on. You don't need to be installing the fan by yourself, bro. You can let people do their jobs. Hire somebody and let them, you know, work rather than you being involved. Because when you're too involved, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and people are not going to trust you, right? It sounds like one of those micromanaging bosses. I don't like them.
Nowadays, it's almost unheard of for a driver to be that hands-on with the operations of his or her team. I mean, at that point, you're pretty much just an owner-driver who doesn't have to worry about finances. But actually, for Mark, he did still have to worry about dollars and cents. Mark had good people he wanted to bring into the shop, but Jack Roush was a businessman first and a racer second. If one guy looked a bit too pricey, Jack would say no. He was in the money-making business, and if he could find a bargain somewhere, he'd take that over the sure thing. But I mean, to be fair, who could blame him? He took a chance on Mark because he was cheap, and that had worked out fine, right? But Mark just finds it distracting. And come on, when you're competing for championships and it comes time to set up your car for next week's race, and doing something as simple as installing a cup holder in your car requires you to engineer it for yourself from scratch, yeah, that's pretty damn distracting. And it does slowly leach away at your performance. Mark even goes so far as to go out job hunting. And one intriguing ride is Junior Johnson's flagship number 11 car. But there's even bigger trouble over there. Bill Elliott goes winless in 1993 for them, and the team is in shambles. Mark decides against jumping ship and instead pushes for his team to make some improvements.
Wait, so while he was still contracted to race for wherever it is, he's able to go out and race for somebody else? What? I don't get that one.
Big thing was he wanted to hang the bodies on the chassis a certain way. And some of the members of his team were fighting him on that. But after they went winless halfway through the season, they relented and hung the bodies the way Mark wanted. And then they won 4 in a row. And it wasn't like they just got lucky with a streak of similar tracks, far from it.
That's a slap in the face.
Those 4 wins in a row came at Watkins Glen, Michigan, Bristol, and Darlington. They went from a road course to a 2-mile superspeedway to a short track, and then ended it with well, whatever the hell Darlington is.
Oh, if that happened to me, I'm changing the contract. I don't think his contracts were the same way this back then. Yeah, the contract was, bro. It was just like, oh, yeah, I'm just gonna go race for somebody else. Hold on a minute. Oh. And then it comes back. They finally did what it wanted, and it starts winning, bro. At that point, I'm sitting there. I'm like, listen, let's talk about how much you're paying me, really, because you're not listening to me.
Mark's new crew chief is somebody that we've talked about before. Steve Mill is really jiving with the new setups, and his mechanical wizardry is instrumental to the team's success. After Robin Pemberton left to join Sabco, Mill dropped down from an executive position at Roush to crew chief the car, and his talent shone through as soon as they figured the bodies out. However, their earlier struggles would put them behind Dale and Rusty, and they'd end up the year third in points. In 1990,
yeah, but if I do get another job while I'm working this job right now and I leave, I don't think I'll be able to come back in the same year to the same job. They'll be like, bro, they'll have a party on my way out.
94, things should end up being far better. One would think anyway. Instead, they only nab 2 wins and barely stumble into the runners-up position at season's end. They do so at the very last race by leading the most laps and winning the race. And in that last race, they literally needed every single point possible up for grabs just to barely sneak into the second place position. They won and led the most laps. And even then, they lost to Dale Earnhardt again by 44 points. Oh, I'm sorry.
This is giving me Pablo Montoya vibes, right? Because when he was racing in Formula One, that's when Michael Schumacher was hot. So even though Montoya was very good driver in Formula One, he just could not win the championships because Michael Schumacher was winning everything. It's same. So Michael Schumacher is the Dale Earnhardt for Mark Martin, basically, right? Oh my gosh.
Sorry, did I say 44 points? Wait a second. I meant 444 points. I forgot a 4 there. My bad.
My God.
Dale Earnhardt mathematically locked up the championship some time ago. And in this championship campaign, he won just 4 races, but matched his average finish from 1990 with 8.0 flat.
And that 444 points is probably reasons why they introduced all the playoffs and all the shenanigans, because they want races to go on to the end.
Secret that year? Just being wildly consistent when everybody else floundered. Pretty much the complete opposite of what went down in 1990. Oh, that and the ongoing tire war that year. That probably had a lot to do with it too. Look, when your competition is getting thinned out by slow and somewhat dangerous Hoosier tires, that always helps your chances. Dale and Richard Childress Racing were firmly in the Goodyear camp, but so were Mark and Roush Racing. Their problem? 3 crashes and 3 engine failures. And that's not even all of their DNFs. Dale had only 3 the entire season. Maybe the tire war was a distraction, and RCR stuck with what they knew and played it cool while the world around them descended into chaos. Jeff Bodine had taken over the late Alan Kawicki's team and was on a tear, but equipment failures dogged him all year. We also had 11 different winners in 1994 in just 31 races, which shook things up even more. Mark was vocally against the tire war and said, "We need one tire company. Then we would have the one tire we need at each track." I'm really proud to have lived to talk about the 1994 tire war. It's just not worth it, man.
Yeah, equalize it with the one tire thing. Tire wars are probably a good one for you to watch. I need to start making a list of these suggestions, because I'm seeing a few pop up in the chat. What's the best way to get these lists right now? Because I don't want to be opening many windows at the moment. In the IndyCar too, bro. There's always tire wars. There was tire wars in Formula One as well. There was time when they were fighting against Pirelli so hard. Was it Pirelli that was? It's one of them kept blowing up, or something. Maybe it was Goodyear. I don't remember. But they're always having tire wars. All right, let me grab a note. I might click something and end the stream. If I do, I'm sorry. We can come back to it, okay? All right, I'm gonna put a sticky note up here. But in his update, I'm trying to grab all these recommendations from you guys. Oh, guys, if you have my Discord, please go into Discord and put them in there. It'll be easy for me to get into it later. Everything is a sign in these days. We can't just use any app these days. You gotta sign into everything. Sign in here, sign in there. All right, take notes. Blood on the asphalt. because you can't even copy it from there. There was something else I saw earlier. Bear with me, guys. I'll be back into the video very shortly. JPM's pole qualifying. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. Back into the video. Let's get it on.
Yeah, that's how bad it was. Guys were just happy about the 1994 tire war. It's just not worth
1994.
it, man. Yeah, that's how
Wow.
bad it was. Guys were just happy to live through it, and in the final race in Atlanta, Hoosier had 3 major blowouts. One sent rookie prospect Boy Allen to the hospital, and another was a horrifying fiery crash that required Jeff Bodine's team to jump the pit wall and drag their driver to safety. That
Wow.
embarrassment of a final showing was enough to make Hoosier drop out of NASCAR's top series completely. And
It's funny that they've dropped out of NASCAR where they're driving in circles, and they are now, or maybe they were even in the NHRA at that point. So their tires is good for 3 seconds. That's what I'm getting from this. Okay. Any longer than that, and it's gonna blow up.
turned to being the sole tire supplier of the modifieds and ARCA. Like I said earlier, this year didn't matter much to Mark, and I'm not one to argue with the GOAT, so let's move on to his 1995 and 96 struggles. He went on a tear in 1995, winning 4 races, but he'd wind up 4th in the points after a young phenom named Jeff Gordon beat the pants off of everyone and won 7 races.
No.
And in 96, he went winless, but a new crew chief named Jimmy Finnig is about to figure everything out and put Mark on a collision course with destiny. That starts with 4 wins in 1997, including a win at Sonoma to break his winless streak, and a win at Talladega that still stands as the fastest race ever run in the Cup Series.
Okay.
Although they'd swap the points lead back and forth with
What does that mean? The fastest race in Cup Series? Does that just mean that there were not a lot of caution in that race?
Gordon for several weeks? A late season stumble and the rise of Dale Jarrett would see them only end up 3rd at season's end. You know what? At this point, it seems like we've tried everything. We played it safe for points, and that didn't work. We tried a late season rebound and some innovative trickery, and that didn't work. We literally built the fastest car of the 90s, and that didn't work either. You know what? Screw it. Let's just go for fucking broke.
It was a short race, so average speed as well. Okay. I guess average speed. Okay, fair enough. I was thinking that as well, but I just didn't say it. I was like, it's too late now. 1998, we're here.
Up next, Mark Martin decides to go out and have the best season of his entire career. The only problem is somebody else.
I feel like this picture right here is like the best championship picture in the world. It's so cocky and so relaxed about it. It's like, yeah, and what? I've won another one. It looks amazing. I like it. You was born in 1998? Hell yeah, bro.
Had the exact same idea. NASCAR is more than just racing. I would say first and foremost, it is an ever-unfolding tapestry of rivalries. The King versus the Silver Fox, Dale Earnhardt versus Bill Elliott, Darrell Waltrip versus Bobby Allison, Joey Logano versus, well, everyone. And the list goes on forever, it seems like. However, some of the greatest drivers of all time seem to have never had that one guy that got the best of them and pushed them to new heights. In the case of Jeff Gordon, he was so good that it seemed like he had no equal. No one could challenge his reign over the 90s. He did have run-ins with the likes of Brad Keselowski and most notably his teammate later in his career, Jimmy Johnson, but by then it had become apparent that the torch had been passed, and Jimmy was no longer the apprentice, but the master. Retroactively, a lot of
It just seems like Mark Martin was not lucky enough. From one dominant driver to another one, and now he's just playing second fiddle to them. It's just so like, how can somebody be so unlucky that as soon as Dale died, this guy turns up and starts smashing everybody?
people have tried to arbitrarily latch a rivalry onto Jeff Gordon's 1990s legacy. Some have placed Dale Earnhardt Sr. in that role, but in actuality the two rarely had any heated words to exchange with the other, if any at all. Earnhardt actually respected Jeff, and clearly saw that he would be the flag bearer for the sport moving forward. Jeff did lose a nail-biter of a championship to Terry Labonte in 1996, in which Jeff won 10 races to Terry's 2, but Jeff was uncharacteristically inconsistent that year, and Terry pulled away for just his second title in 12 years. He'd never rivaled Jeff like that ever.
2009 is gonna be epic. Okay, I'm ready.
And Terry pulled away for just his second title in 12 years. He'd never rivaled Jeff like that ever again. There was one season, however, where someone not only gave Jeff a run for his money, but would continue to hound him and push him to new heights year after year, and would even go on to best him in the championship standings several more times in the future. The two pushed each other to their absolute best, and in 1998, the two would have the best statistical years of their careers. And the man that stepped up to fill that void was none other than Mark the Kid Martin.
Wow. Okay, 13-7. Yeah, top. Yeah, it did spank him in every category, though, to be honest. Average finish, 5.7. Yeah, it was never gonna win against Jeff Gordon with his stats. Especially for his age, that's true.
In 1998, across 33 races run that season, Mark and Jeff combined to win a staggering 20 of those. In the modern era, that has only happened 2 other times in NASCAR history, in 1982 and 1974. It really is just insane to think about. 2 guys won 60% of the races that season. No one else scored more than 3 wins. That kind of domination in a single season hasn't happened since and will likely never happen again.
Come to Formula One. It happens every single year. Even one driver who will win 90% of the races.
In an era notable for its parity, where it seemed like anybody could win on any given weekend, this was just totally out of left field.
That is
Mark
so
and Jeff's
true, though.
stats for this season are absolutely legendary. It's like something you'd put together on career mode in a NASCAR video game if you set the difficulty down to the lowest possible level. These two were just on a completely different planet that year. The story of their record-breaking campaigns can actually trace its origins to 1997. That year, they traded the points lead back and forth 3 times in the back half of the season, as they stood 1 and 2 in the standings for 12 weeks straight. But late in the year, Mark began to falter, and Dale Jarrett would take the second spot. Mark would finish the season.
Question: if anyone can win at any time in NASCAR, does it make the win even interesting for you or for the driver that's won? Because in Formula One, it's hard for you to win if you're driving a crap car. So when you actually do win and nobody expected you to win, it's the most amazing thing ever. They will do a press story about it for like the next 10 years. But in NASCAR, anything can happen and people swap, you know, there's a lot of winners in the whole of the season. So is it still special? I'm sure it is, but how special is it? Is my question.
Third in the points, just 29 back of Gordon, who got his second championship.
So they do have teams that nobody expect them to win. Yeah, the people riding at the back, they're 36 place people. But how often do they win? I know they don't expect them to win, but I guess sometimes they will win. I don't know. Is that a thing?
Championship. Fast forward to February 1998, and the board is reset for a new season. NASCAR celebrates its 50th anniversary, and Dale Earnhardt finally triumphs in his storied Dale vs. Daytona saga, claiming his first Daytona 500 and one of the sport's most iconic moments. We all remember the crew members of every team coming out on pit lane to congratulate Dale on finally nabbing the one race that had eluded him for so long. But lost in everyone's recollections is that for Jeff and Mark, that race was pretty forgettable. Jeff finished 16th and Mark wrecked out late, finishing 38th. As high-powered as this season would end up being, it has very humble beginnings. Although Jeff would win the next week at Rockingham, his finishes in the successive weeks are not championship caliber. 17th at Las Vegas and 19th at Atlanta. He gets a runner-up at Darlington and then a second win at Bristol, which is then followed up by a DNF at Texas. Mark's numbers are just about identical here. He won at Vegas and Texas, but has a 25th at Atlanta, and a couple of sub-20th place finishes a few races after that. These are not championship numbers at all. They're nabbing a win and a top 10 in exchange for a 20th place finish or worse. It is extremely difficult to win the Winston Cup under those circumstances. And although Jeff Gordon has clawed his way to the championship points lead by the time the 600 wraps up at the end of May, he barely leads over the Penske teammates of Rusty Wallace and Jeremy Mayfield.
Wow,
and in week 13 of competition, he wrecks out late from a spin caused by Rusty himself.
Damn.
At this point, Jeremy Mayfield claims the points lead, and Mark and Jeff find themselves sitting 3rd and 4th in the points respectively. This is
like I don't know what the punishment is usually for somebody wiping out other people. It's not that crazy, I don't think. There have been about 3,000 drivers who had ever raced in Cup Series. Only 201 which have ever won. Damn, 201 out of 3,000. Wow. I want to see the stats for Formula One, see how it's different. Because I know a lot of drivers that have never won, but they've been there for so long.
It's supposed to be one of the most dominating seasons by any two drivers ever. So when does this start? Yeah, they have 3 wins apiece after just 13 races, but the season is just 33 races long. Only 61% of the schedule remains, and these guys need to throw it into overdrive if they want to reach greatness. And they do. What ensues is just utter domination by these two. Going forward, they will combine for just 5 finishes outside the top 5 for the remainder of the year. That's right,
What?
40 combined starts, and they finished worse than 5th just 5 times.
Damn.
Every time they cranked up their engines from here on out, they ran
Top 5.
87.5% odds of getting a top 5 that day.
Madness.
That's just insane.
That is consistency and a half. They were fighting and battling to the end. And unfortunately, I know who's won this.
They went back and forth, winning 14 of the next 20 races, and there was just no opportunity for anybody else to challenge them. They kept adding to their point lead and left everybody else behind them. No longer tethered to the confines of reasonable expectations, they climbed ever higher into the realm of greatness. They laid waste to the field around them, as they had essentially put the NASCAR world on easy mode. They finished 1-2-5 times that year, including 3 times in a row in the summer stretch at Pocono, Indianapolis, and Watkins Glen. The two of them would lead 3,447 combined laps, more than the next 5 drivers in the standings put together.
Combined.
They amassed
Wow.
so many points that third in the standings, Dale Jarrett, would need at least 4 races where they didn't show up, and he scored the maximum allowable points all 4 times to surpass them. Jeff Gordon almost locked up the championship with 2 races remaining, needing only to start the second to last race at Rockingham to clinch the cup. Watching this as an 8-year-old, I didn't really grasp at the time how impressive this was. When you're a kid, you don't know what the rules are or what's to be expected from drivers. You're not jaded with age and you're always shooting for the stars. Nothing seems out of reach, and you expect everybody else to have that outlook too.
And what happened to their teammates not riding with them at the top there? Because if your teammates are doing 1 and 2, what the hell are you doing? It's like the Red Bull and the second driver. You never see them. Even McLaren and Ferrari as well, the same thing. You only have 1 horse in the race the whole time. How the hell did they allow them to go so far ahead? Was the garage just focusing on 1 driver as well? What is it? It's always so crazy to me that this happens. Like, what happens to the other driver? They just put on snooze and just relax.
In reality, it's very rare that something like that ever happens in our day-to-day lives. That's where the magic of sports comes into play. There, the incredible happens on a weekly basis, with circus catches, insane triple plays, and lights-out performances galore. In motorsports, though, these moments are more few and far between.
No football. Boo! I'm trying to see a nice goal somewhere, but no, it didn't include any football.
And that's
there.
what makes them all the more special. And watching Mark Martin and Jeff Gordon shoot for the moon week in and week out was a 33-week-long opera that captured my imagination more than any other series of events in sports has ever before or since.
Hell
to this
yeah.
day, it is still my favorite season in NASCAR history.
Hell yeah, that sounds amazing though. Like a nice shootout between 2 drivers. Does that even happen anymore, or is it just completely different? I don't know if there are 2 drivers that are just like going back and forth right now. I'm not sure, but yeah, no, that would have been crazy to see back then.
Now, let's address the elephant in the room here. Jeff was by far the heavier lifter in this 2-man performance. Of the 20 wins they scored that year, Jeff accounts for 13 of them compared to Mark's 7, nearly double. He also had more top 5s and more top 10s, although it's admittedly close. What really set them apart, however, was how bad their few bad days were. When Jeff fell off of his game, he merely got a top 10 or a top 15. When Mark had an issue, it usually resulted in a sub-25th place finish.
Bro,
of those 5 outside the top
place.
5 finishes that occurred in the back 2/3 of the season, Mark accounted for 4 of them. This unfortunate series of events for Mark is represented in their average finish for the season. Martin's 8.6 is incredible, and would have easily been championship caliber in just about any other season. But Jeff's average finish was an otherworldly 5.7. An average finish at the end of a season in the 5 bracket or better has only ever happened 5 times in the history of NASCAR's modern era.
Wow.
And it has never happened since. The 90s were
I wouldn't even say modern era. This is only in the 70s. Well, okay, there was 187. But my God, Bobby Allison, Richard Petty, and Cale Yarborough. Back in the days, man. 4.7, 4.5. 4.5? Cale Yarborough was on fire. Wow.
Times in the history of NASCAR's modern era, and it has never happened since. The 90s were truly an era of Jeff Gordon versus the NASCAR world. And while a few drivers would best him in the standings in the years after, no one pushed him as hard as Mark Martin had done in 1998. Sometimes the best athletes need other greats to push them into the uncharted heights of greatness.
Exactly.
Steel sharpens steel after all. And their 20-win season is still in a three-way tie as the most wins by any two drivers in the modern era to this day. Actually, it would be 21 wins if you wanted to count the All-Star race that year. Jeff Gordon dominated that race, and a repeat of what he had done the year prior with his now fabled T-Rex car that got effectively banned the next day after it had won. But I must admit that I probably altered the outcome of this race. You see, I was there attending that race. As Mark Martin passed Bobby Labonte on the last lap and claimed the second spot, Jeff Gordon had a sizable lead, and all he had to do was coast to the finish. But in my seat, just at the exit of turn 4 where Mark had completed his pass to get the second spot, I said a little prayer, hoping Mark would overtake Jeff in the final lap and nab his first All-Star trophy. And going into turn 1 on the last lap, Jeff's engine expired, and Mark came around and won the race along with the $1 million paycheck that came with it.
That was a prayer and a half. That prayer went straight to the receiver.
A few days before my birthday, I got to see my favorite driver win the All-Star race and best his biggest rival. Going back to the topic of Jeff's 13 wins, he tied the modern era record for most wins in a season that year. The other man to do this? Well, obviously it was the king himself, Richard Petty. In 1975, he also netted 13 wins in a single season. Although in 1998, Jeff had a good bit of help considering that he ran a 33-race schedule, whereas Petty ran 30 races in 1975. As a matter of fact, Jeff won his 12th and 13th races in the second-to-last and last races of the season, respectively. Had the schedule not been lengthened, he would have ended up with a still impressive 11-win season. His 13th and final win of 1998 came with some controversy too. Atlanta played host to the season finale back then, and the newly reconfigured track had just been outfitted with lights. As fate would have it, the race endured hours of rain delays. And despite being well past the halfway point, NASCAR flicked on the lights and waited it out until almost midnight as Jeff overtook Dale Jarrett and captured his record-tying win. Even with a 33-race schedule, Gordon's win percentage in 1998 sits at a jaw-dropping 39.4%.
So if they'd ended the race when they were supposed to, it wouldn't have won that race. But they changed the rules because there's lights. If the lights were not installed, it would have ended up in second place.
Had he gotten those wins in a 30-race season like the King did, he would have a ludicrous 43.3% win percentage on the season. These two single-season win percentages stand as the best and third best in modern NASCAR history. If you want to make a run at being the greatest NASCAR driver of all time, you're going to have to prove it by surpassing, tying, or at least coming close to this benchmark. With a longer 36-race schedule these days, combined with a championship format that doesn't value insane stats like these as much anymore, these two will likely sit at the top of the pile forever. The 1998 season was a hell of a time to be a NASCAR fan. Sure, by today's metrics, it would have been pretty boring on a week-to-week basis. You had basically coin flip odds of guessing who was going to win week in and week out at any given track, and the points lead Jeff had built up by the end of the summer stretch was pretty much insurmountable. But if you really want to watch what happens when two of the sport's best are on their A-game for a 33-week-long war, then the 1998 season is your cup of tea. Anyway, I'm Slapshoes. Thanks for watching. It's September 29th, 2002 at Kansas Speedway, and what should have easily been one of the greatest championship points battles of all time is about to go straight to hell. Mark Martin leads the points going into this race, and all he needs to do to maintain his lead is finish in the top 10.
All right, I've added that to the list. Thank you, Chip Clint. I'll check that out. It's not really changing the rules. Well, did they say that before though, Twin? Did they say, all right, by the way, if the rain happens and we have to delay this up until the light comes on, then we will? Or did they just take advantage because the lights were already installed? Is the thing. They definitely bent the rule a little bit. They did. Just a little bit, just a smidge.
And one of the greatest championship points battles of all time is about to go straight to hell. Mark Martin leads the points going into this race, and all he needs to do to maintain his lead is finish in the top 10. He'll later say of all of his championship runner-up finishes that this one hurt the most.
The point leader has stalled. They're pushing him down pit road. The car will not.
Oh no!
But before we get into all that, let's take a look at what Mark's been up to in the meantime. His 1998 season was just legendary and would have easily been championship caliber in any other season, but Jeff Gordon put a stop to that. Mark bounced back though and won 2 events in 1999 and finished 3rd in the standings. Not bad at all. In 2000, he only won 1 race and finished 8th in the points. Again, not bad. But in 2001, he hits a brick wall. No wins, only 3 top 5s, and 12 in the standings.
Out.
Okay, now something is definitely wrong. Roush Racing had a hard time with the aerodynamics of the 2001 Ford Taurus, and they were behind the 8 ball all year. The only driver to score any wins for them was Jeff Burton at Charlotte and Phoenix. Adding to the pressure Mark is feeling is his new sponsor Viagra. Yeah, go ahead and make your jokes, but they were instrumental in team success throughout the 2000s. Valvoline had wanted to stay with the team, but Pfizer makes a deal with Roush, which at the time was the biggest sponsorship deal in NASCAR history. Not only are they sending millions to the team, but Pfizer is going on a full-on ad blitz across every network that carries NASCAR races. Mark signs on the dotted line on the
The go hard or go home is the motto over there. Just spam the ads. Hell yeah. Okay, I had to slide in one joke.
agreement that they put an emphasis on the men's health aspect of their work. Pfizer agrees and spends millions raising awareness on men's health topics that have been stigmatized before, getting regular checkups, testing for prostate and testicular cancer, and many other issues. And wouldn't you know it, death rates from those types of cancer went on the decline after that. Laugh all you want, Mark Martin and Viagra saved lives, folks. I'll defend that one to the grave. But during this time, it was really hard being a Mark Martin fan. No pun intended, again, take your jokes elsewhere. But you'd tell somebody that Mark was your favorite race car driver and people would inevitably go, oh yeah, that's the Viagra guy, right? Yeah, that's the guy.
I mean, it's like one of the oldest men on the track. It's fitting for him to be advertising Viagra, no?
Even buying Mark Martin merch was pretty difficult, especially as a kid in middle school at this time. A lot of photos of the car and Mark in his fire suit were obviously poorly censored with Photoshop. And add that to his waning performance out on the track, and these were some seriously dark days for his fans. But even with all that extra income from the Viagra deal, Roush flounders all year. Thankfully, they have a multi-year contract in place and have time to fix the problems that ail them. Mark, though, is starting to have some serious doubts creep up into his mind for the first time since the early 80s. Is he washed up? Is this it?
Nope.
Is he ever gonna win another race?
Yeah.
It seems silly to think now that he was considering himself a has-been in the early 2000s, knowing what we know today, but it's a legit concern in 2001. He's in his 40s now and he knows he's running out of time as a driver. He has at most another 10 years ahead of him. He goes into the 2002 season, unsure of himself and his future. But Jack Roush has a plan in place to deal with the malaise of his teams. Kurt Busch was a young, fast, and brash driver, and Jack had originally given him a team of young, brash people to work with, thinking that like minds would come together and accomplish great things. But the team is all over the place and needs guidance. Mark Martin's team, however, is full of older, more established members that have been working with the organization for over a decade. Jimmy Finnig, who had orchestrated Mark's 1998 dominance, is sent to stabilize Kurt Busch, and Busch's crew chief is sent over to Mark. His name is Ben Leslie.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Losing his OG crew chief.
As unpredictable as he was genius, in 2002, Ben will give Mark one of the most consistent seasons of his entire career.
Ooh,
but in 2003,
nice.
He'll give him one of his most inconsistent. The young man has other young crew members joining him in the migration, and Mark's knowledge of setup seeps into the team and they start running like they should again. The aero of the cars is figured out, and a reinvigorated Mark Martin sets out into 2002 with high hopes. He finishes 6th in the Daytona 500 and has some finishes all over the place in the early stages of the season. But in May, he strikes gold. Fending off his hard-charging teammate Matt Kenseth, Mark wins his first Coca-Cola 600 and won $1 million in the No Bull 5 event. Back in the Wilson Cup days for 5 Crown Jewel events throughout the year, the top 5 in the points would be eligible for $1 million payout if they could win that race. And NASCAR put orange highlights on the car so fans could easily identify them. Mark had come close to the prize before, but this was the first time he pulled it off. And before the race, he promised his team that if they won, he'd share half of the winnings with them, hoping that they'd put in a little extra effort. It worked, and in victory lane, Mark said that was the hardest he had ever driven a race car and won.
There you go.
After this race, he sits 3rd in the points, a good 143 points short of the points leader, who had been on top of the pile since week 2. And that gets us into one of the best and most forgotten points battles in NASCAR history. So let's talk about the man that many say should have walked away with the cup at season's end. A guy from Tennessee with a really fun to say name.
Big
Who's that? What's his name? Who's that?
If I had told you back in the 90s that Sterling Marlin would be poised to win a championship in the early 2000s and would lead the vanguard for Dodge's return to NASCAR, you would have told me I was out of my skull insane. For most of his career, Marlin looked like just another journeyman driver, like his old man Cuckoo Marlin. Man, this family
Wait, his dad's name is Cuckoo.
He just has a lot of great names. But in 1994, a deal with Morgan McClure Motorsports sees him win his first race of his career at the Daytona 500. And then he followed it up by winning the race again in 1995, becoming one of only 3 drivers to date who have ever won back-to-back 500s. He went on to win at Darlington and Talladega that year as well. But by 1997, it's become apparent to him that Morgan McClure have put all of their eggs in the super speedway basket, and they're struggling everywhere else. He nabs only 2 top 5s that year and jumps ship to Sabco in 1998, but doesn't fare much better. Going into 2001, he hasn't done much with the team, but an IndyCar big shot named Chip Ganassi is about to...
This is what happens a lot though. Like you feel like your car is going a bit slow, so yeah, you jump ship. But does that even mean that you're gonna get a better car? A lot of the time it's a flop, isn't it?
Partner up with Felix Sabates of Sabco and create a real powerhouse team with Dodge support. Marlin immediately goes on a tear, winning 2 races and finishing 3rd in the points. In 2002, he's looking even better, and likely would have won the Daytona 500 a 3rd time had he not done this under the red flag.
What did he do?
Sterling Marlin is jumping out of his car. He's going around to look at the right front fender.
No!
No, he can't do that.
Hey, people call this a boneheaded move, but what else was he supposed to do? Run around with a tire rub for a few laps and cause an accident? Hell, I say take the chance, see what happens. Even after taking a penalty for that and restarting at the back of the field, he still battles back and finishes 8th. He spins and wins at Las Vegas, and then wins at Darlington, and he leads the points from round 2 all the way until week 27. A late season collapse is looking more and more likely, but as week 29 of 36 rolls around, he's going to a lot of tracks that favor him heavily. He won the Fall Charlotte race last year, and their Super Speedway package is fantastic, and Talladega is just next week.
How come I've never heard of this guy? We've never done a video on him. He seemed like he had a great year.
They avoid DNFs and win those 2 races, they'll have themselves a cup at the end of the year. But Marlin's got some serious competition to deal with. After week 28 at Dover, Mark holds a narrow lead over the rookie sensation named Jimmy Johnson. No rookie has ever won the championship or even led the standings up to this point in NASCAR history, and the California kid looks to pull off the upset of the century. Speaking of upsets, sitting at 3rd in the points is a Hoosier and former open wheeler named Tony Stewart, and the outsider is looking to nab a title in just his 4th full-time season. He is 74 points back of Mark and a mere 7 ahead of Marlin.
See, I know every other name on the list apart from Sterling Marlin. Why? We need to do a proper video on him. I need to go find it. Let me see what his history is. Or was it just a one-hit wonder? Maybe he just hit it one time and then he quit.
This is going to be an intense final stretch of races, but on week 29 at Kansas, what should have been the greatest title fight since 1992 goes straight to hell. On lap 147, Marlin takes a vicious crash into the turn 2 wall and breaks a vertebra in his neck. The man who had led the points for 26 weeks and had a rebound just in his sights is out for the remainder of the year. He's walking around and talking immediately after the wreck, but doctors will not clear him to race in the weeks ahead. The crash would effectively end his winning days. He never won another race and only netted 4 top 5s before he retired at the end of the 2009 season. And
that is why I've never heard of him.
This line of work, fate is a cruel mistress, and the racing gods care not what you think you deserve. Mark Martin has been hanging around in the top 20 all day. He's led 1 lap on a pit cycle move to get another 5 bonus points, but late in the race he makes his move to the front. Turns out he was just hanging out mid-pack playing it safe, and now it's time to pounce. He's pleaded with Jack Roush all week. Just give me a motor that can go the whole race. I don't need any extra horsepower, I just need to finish. He's inside the top 10, right where he needs to be. But with just 17 laps to go, Mark drops a cylinder and can't even get the car out of the pit box without his crew pushing it. He eventually parks the car and calls it a day. He finishes 25th. Jimmy Johnson takes the points lead and still to this day is the only rookie to ever lead the points, but he wouldn't sit atop the standings for long. Tony Stewart finishes 2nd at Talladega the very next week. And in that race, Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson collide together on the pace laps when Mark's steering column locks up, in a freak accident. Mark finishes 30th, and Jimmy, as well as every other Hendrick-affiliated team, blows a motor. With first and second out of the way, Tony Stewart takes the points lead and cruises to his first of 3 championship titles, after battling back from finishing dead last in the Daytona 500 and a litany of controversies with the media.
I'm still in shock from that crash. The steering column locked up and the guy just takes the person in first out. Oh my God. That is mental. That is absolutely mental. What kind of, do you even get fined for that, or is it just racing incident?
Mark Martin and Ben Leslie, in their desperation, even got docked another 25 points at Rockingham for an unimproved coil spring. But they still get the runner-up spot and gather themselves back up and press forward into 2003. They go winless and finish the year out 17th in points. By the end of that year, Ben Leslie is ousted and Pat Trison takes over crew chiefing duties and gives Mark a win apiece in 2004 and 2005, and 4th in the points both years. In 2005, Mark announces that this will be his final full-time season, and he wants to go part-time in 2006. But Jack Roush needs 1 year to find a replacement driver, so he and Mark agree to a 1-season deal in 2006, and Mark makes it to the chase for the 3rd year in a row. He's in the hunt all the way up until Charlotte when a rookie J.J. Yaley pulls a Quinn Houff and decides to pit from the middle lane. The crash is a scary looking...
Okay, now that is hot. What was it thinking? It's like the people in the road that try to turn left on the from the wrong, or trying to, well, in my case, it will be turning right? Yeah, from the middle lane. Or turn left. I can't. My brain is all scrambled right now. That is absolutely ridiculous. That a grown person, not a rookie. Was it a rookie? Or was it a professional doing that kind of move?
And Mark makes it to the chase for the 3rd year in a row. He's in the hunt all the way up until Charlotte when a rookie J.J. Yaley pulls a Quinn Houff and decides to pit from the middle lane. The crash is a scary looking one, but Mark walks away, and in his post-race interview, he just seems absolutely irate. But more than that, it just seems like he's given up hope.
Championship is not really something that was meant to be for me ever.
That one sentence hurt me more than any one of his championship runner-ups. It was like he was resigned to his fate at this point. And if he had given up hope, then I had to as well. Mark finished the year 9th in the standings, and I waited to hear what his plans were for 2007. It came out in the off-season that he had signed with MB2 Motorsports to take over Joe Nemechek's ride in the 01 Army Chevy. I was perplexed as to what he saw in the team, but in the Daytona 500 that year, he showed everyone that team was exactly what he wanted it to be. He took the lead late and drove the race of his life, and coming out of the final corner of the final lap, I fully expected NASCAR to throw the caution as they had in every other instance up to that point in last lap superspeedway pileups. They never did.
Here they come, checkered flag!
This is not happenstance. This is malicious torment. This is the racing gods telling you no. This is not meant for you. Not now, not ever.
Damn.
You must make peace with that or let it eat at you forever.
Damn.
Maybe we should have seen it coming. Maybe it should have been obvious now looking back at it that a
two
guy
should
who
have taken
thought
number
number 1
one.
was too brash and cocky and purposefully chose number 2 finds himself in second so frustratingly often. At the beginning of the year, South Carolina real estate mogul Bobby Ginn bought out MB2 Motorsports, and by August 2007, everybody's onto the fact that he's a complete huckster who's out of money. So, Ginn Motorsports merges with the fledgling DEI team, and Mark never gets close to victory lane for the rest of the year. In 2008, he had fast cars, but just couldn't put it all together. One race at Phoenix looks like he has it in the bag after Mark goes half throttle for the entire final pit cycle, and assures his crew chief, Tony Gibson, that he can make it on fuel and snooker a win away from the field. However, Tony is under strict orders to get the car into the top 10 in owner points and plays it safe. Mark had lost the same race in 2006 by coming up short on fuel, and he's learned from his mistakes and begs to be left out on the track. But eventually, he begrudgingly pits for gas and finishes 5th. Mark's contract is up at the end of the year, and in 2009, I fully expect Mark to call it quits. He's got nothing left to prove. 35 wins, many more in the Xfinity Series, a handful of wins in the Truck Series, 1 ARCA win, 4 ASA titles, and even 5 championships in the International Race of Champions, the most of any driver in its 30 years of competition. But one day, after a rough day at work, I come home and see my dad in the kitchen. It was rare for him to beat me home from his job, and he just pops his head from behind the wall and asks, "Did you hear the news?" I had been at work all day, so I answer, "No, what?" My dad just smirks and says, "Mark Martin's going to be driving full-time next year for Hendrick." I remember I stopped taking off my boots and I just looked at my dad like what he had just said to me was some kind of sick joke. But he assures me that it isn't. I go to my room, fire up the laptop, and sure enough, my dad wasn't lying to me. my favorite driver was going to drive the flagship car of the best team in motorsports full time next year.
Hell yeah. It can only go up from here, right? He's gonna win, surely. Is the only NASCAR reaction today? Ooh, potentially. I don't think I have too much time to do many videos, but that is not saying next time we do reaction, we can't mix up some motorsports shenanigans. You know what I'm saying?
We started this series off by saying how first chances in this line of work are rare, and second chances are even rarer still. But Mark Martin, ever a defier of the odds, is about to get a third chance.
Yep.
He says his only objective going forward is just to win one more race, but he's about to do so much more than that. Other than a win, he just wants to go out and have as much fun as possible. You know, we've tried playing the points game, we've tried late season rebounds, we've gone for broke, we've even gone into a late season point slugfest, and we even set a litany of new records. But what if we didn't try?
What if? All right. I've been told that 2009 is going to blow my socks off. So I'm ready for this 2009 shenanigan. I want to know what happened here. I don't want to be disappointed. I'm ready. Okay. Anybody got anything to say before we click play again? Because this is going to be something else. The top team for Mark Martin to redeem himself, to get that championship that he's been looking for so long. Oh, man, I know I'm going to be sad for him, whatever happens. Who else erased for Hendrick at this point? Well, somebody please answer that, because I would like to know as well. And also, if you have suggestions for next stream, if we could do this stream again, maybe on a random Saturday, what races or what sports you want to see, let me know. I'll jump into them. Gordon, Ernest Jr., and Jimmy. Okay. Jimmy Joseph, Jeff Gordon there. Okay, so it's gonna be a nice year. Oh, yeah. All right, let's go.
Up next, fifth time's a charm, right? Here for any Mark Martin fan. By this point, it had been 4 years since his last win, and the news that he was returning to full-time competition threw a lot of us off guard. In 2007, Mark had started the first 4 events of the year and got 3 top 5s with a worst finish of 10th. But his part-time schedule meant that he'd skip the short tracks, super speedways, and road courses. Not because he was bad at them, quite the opposite. He practically owned Watkins Glen, and he was a short track setup wizard. And with Roush horsepower under the hood, he was better at the plate tracks than most. But when you can essentially run a schedule of your own choosing for funsies, you'd be surprised what tracks you're willing to give up on just so you can sleep in on Sundays. Mark actually led the points going into the 5th race at Bristol, and his car owner Bobby Ginn had given Mark the option to run full-time at any point of his own choosing. And going into the Bristol Spring race, rumors were swirling that Mark would go full-time again. He had talked a big game back in 2005 about retiring but came back, and maybe he'd get the bug again. There were even sightings of him at the track that week, but he was just merely advising Regan Smith, who was filling in for him. Mark kept his word and did not start at Bristol or any other track that he had originally vowed not to race at, save for the July Daytona race. It only
Does that help him though? Like, the more races you race, the more chances you win, and the better you become to win the championship, no? You gotta dust off the cobweb somewhere.
Because his runner-up finish at the 500 had given him an itch that he just had to scratch. He finished 17th that night and never made that same mistake again. But this schedule that he had made for himself ahead of time left one serious blind spot for him. He completely omitted any Car of Tomorrow races, aka the Gen 5 car. The COT was to be used by every team at a few races throughout 2007, and more in 2008, until it went full-time in 2009. Eventually, NASCAR would speed up the program and have the COT go full-time in 08. But this omission by Mark was likely a move to give Smith the wheel time over himself. I mean, if he's going to be retiring soon, why bother trying to figure out this new car? Might as well let the new kid take a stab at it and just mentor him as best as you can. In 2008, Mark is with the same team, albeit after they merged with DEI, and he brings his Army sponsorship over to Dale Jr.'s old ride, the number 8. Now he splits driving duties with Eric Almirola, and has no...
So in his 2009 was just to trying to win a race, not even trying to win the championship. I get it. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you, thank you.
No choice but to wheel around the COT to the best of his abilities. But Mark excels at dealing with unknown conditions. If the Cup Series went to a racetrack for the first time, you had to watch out for Mark. He won the first race ever at Las Vegas, as well as the second races ever at California and Texas. And he's actually really good in the COT, despite having less seat time in it than a rookie would. He sits on the front row 5 times, and by the end of the year, he's racking up top 10s like they're going out of style. But midway through the year, Mark is starting to get some strange phone calls from one Rick Hendrick, the owner of the best team in motorsports currently, and that's not an exaggeration in 2008. Red Bull hadn't gone on their tear yet in F1, IndyCar was kind of all over the place, and Audi hadn't come onto the scene yet at Le Mans start kicking faces in there. Rick is asking Mark about his Army sponsorship and whether that's with the team or with him. Does he like what he's doing right now? What are his plans going forward, etc., etc. Mark had never really been friends with Rick up to this point, so after a few awkward phone calls, Mark finally takes the bait. Hey Rick, let's cut to the chase. What do you want? Rick lays it all out on the table. I want you to drive the 5 car full-time in 2009. Mark's had some offers like this come down the pipe in the last few months, but this one is different. This is the flagship car of the best team in the business. And make no mistake about it, the 5 car was Hendrick Motorsports' premier car. It was their first car they ever fielded. Jeff Bodine had gotten their first win in it, as well as their first Daytona 500, and virtually every single driver who had jumped in that seat posted top 5s and wins week in and week out, year after year. If you got the number 5 ride, the expectation was you were going to win often and compete for championships. Bottom line. To say that Mark is tempted is an understatement, but he really wants to stay part-time, racing only 24 times per year. Rick won't budge at first, but then eases on his terms and gives Mark an offer too good to pass up. 3 years in the 5 car, 2 of which will be part-time on whatever basis Mark wants, on the condition that Mark goes full-time in 2009. So Rick can work somebody up the ladder to go part-time in 2010. Mark's ready to take the deal, but he has to ask for permission first. He's made some promises to a certain someone, and now we get to talk about
his
the
wife?
person who has kept this hot mess of a man together throughout all these years. The rock that has steadied Mark through the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. Mrs. Arlene Martin.
Yeah. That's just standard. It can't be anybody else. You gotta go ask permission from the wifey. Because she'd be like, nope, you promised me you're gonna retire, and this was the last time. And what are you doing getting back in the car? Okay, fair play.
Mark and Arlene were originally set up on a blind date by Mark's sister, Glenda. And at first, Arlene has very little interest in a relationship with a man that's younger than her and has no quote-unquote real job, and instead drives race cars for a living. Pretty understandable, but after some time they really hit it off and they get hitched in October of 1984. Literally the only good thing to happen to Mark that year. She stayed by his side through thick and thin, and when he brings up the topic to her to go back full-time in 2009, she gives him the green light. She figures she's been on this crazy ride for 25 or so years, so what's one more full-time season in the grand scheme of things, right? Mark calls up Rick Hendrick and agrees to his terms. 1 year full-time, and then he drops back to his usual 24 race schedule for the next 2. And the time Mark has been mulling over the offer, he's been doing some surveillance of his own. He's been eavesdropping on radios on his off weeks and knows that his crew chief will be a good fit. He's a young guy but has a lot of potential, and he's already won with the likes of Kyle Busch. He's still in the sport today and is currently on a hot streak with Chase Elliott. The guy I'm talking about is, of course, Alan Gustafson. Alan is actually in the midst of working on a new set of cars for 2009. And when Mark gets to the shop and starts working with the team, both he and Alan click right off the bat. Arlene sees Mark with a big dumb smile on his face every time he comes back from the shop. She hasn't seen him like this in years, and she asks what his deal is. Mark just simply tells her, it's like working at NASA. Roush, Ginn, and DEI were all pretty old school operations,
he's loving it.
But Hendrick is closer to an F1 team. They have engineers assigned to each team whose entire job it is to get little minute details squared away. Whereas in the past, Mark himself would have to buy and wire fans to the car and even set up his own racing seat. Now he has people whose sole job it is to do all of that stuff for him.
That's what he's been waiting for all his life. A chance to just be able to be a driver and not be the installing cup holders, like they said.
They also have tons of equipment in-house that would normally be rented out or leased with other teams. And overall, the operation is so smooth it has more in common with the space program than a NASCAR shop. This isn't just a big move for Mark, it's also big for Hendrick. By this time, Mark has gained a reputation for reinvigorating teams that he signs with. And after a less than stellar 2008 season, Hendrick's 5 team needs a shot in the arm. And as soon as the guys learn that Mark is going to be their new driver, they set off into overdrive and everyone is walking around with a little extra pep in their step. Plus, the Hendrick lineup for 2009 is a super team for the ages. If you told somebody in the early 2000s that Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Mark Martin were all going to be on the same team, the reaction probably would have been, okay, what kind of salary cap is NASCAR going to enact now? Because these guys are obviously just going to win everything.
Oh, that's the team you were asking about earlier. Oh my gosh, what a combination. What a combination. That is madness. But it still throws me off that they're not wearing the same thing. They all have different sponsors. I'm still not used to this. When I see its teammates, I want to see same colors everywhere. But it's all completely... Well, I guess they look kind of the same with a plain car at this point. But yeah, that's it.
Going to enact now, because these guys are obviously just going to win everything. But Mark's only objective for this year is just to win one more race, and now he feels like it's practically guaranteed. They load up for Daytona in February, and Mark sits on the outside pole. He's never had a car this fast for the Great American Race, and for the first time he's actually looking forward to a plate race. However, he would only manage a 16th place finish, but he stays out of any serious trouble. Going into California and Vegas, he blows 2 motors, and the team is now scrambling to get their stuff together and give Mark the results he deserves.
It's not looking
By week
good,
5 at Bristol, they have 2 poles and nab their first top 10 with a 6th place finish at the half mile. He gets 2 more top 10s, and then they set off for Phoenix to the race that has been right in Mark's grasp 2 of the last 3 years. The night of the race, I had reconnected with an old high school friend. It had been nearly a year since we had graduated, and we decided to head out to Greenville Pickens Speedway for some entertainment and to catch up on what we've been up to in this time. As the races go by, we turn on the radio right before the late model main event, and just like a year prior, Mark is leading the race late into the night. We stick...
Hold on 1 second. The colors of the numbers and the font are the same, and this is the key. So I have to look for the fonts to know who is what. Okay. It's hard.
For the late model main event, and just like a year prior, Mark is leading the race late into the night. We stick around for the 50-lap feature, and past the halfway point, it looks like Randy Porter has this one pretty well in hand. So I turn to my buddy and tell him, Matt, it's been fun, but I gotta go home and watch this race. He, being a junior fan, knows what it's like to anxiously await your favorite driver's win after a long winless streak. So we say our goodbyes, pack up, and go our separate ways. I gun it home and thankfully don't get bought for speeding, and go to my room just in time to watch the final 5 laps, and... he did it.
Back in the victory lane.
Mission accomplished. 5. It had been 4 years. 4 years since his last winning season, and he finally got it done. In victory lane, Mark popped off like we had never seen before.
Oh my God. What kind of celebratory Subway? What in the world? Is that real food or is it just a prop? That is huge. Who's eating that? And whose job is it to put these things on the roof? Because every time they pull up, somebody comes there and just, that's the full-time job. Just place the advertisements on the roof. Just boom, boom, on the roof. What is that? Snapback sent 100 for 2 jewels. I don't know what that means. But appreciate it if it's something. Thank you.
Few moments, a 50-year-old man was a kid again. He's fist-pumping, jumping up and down, and high-fiving everybody. It was a popular win with everyone in attendance, and it seemed as though symbolically this was his last win. It gave me the same vibes as Terry Labonte winning the Southern 500 in 2003.
Wait, is this the gift thing? Sorry, I'm getting distracted because I've never seen it before. Something on mobile devices. Oh, well, appreciate that, man. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yes, sir. That's beautiful.
And an old racing quote echoes through my head. You never know when you're going to win your last race, so celebrate every win like it's your last. I took that advice to heart, and I'm fist pumping right there with Mark Martin in the comfort of my own home on the other side. When you're going to win your this was his last win. It gave me the same vibes as Terry Labonte winning the Southern 500 in 2003. And an old racing quote echoes through my head. You never know when you're going to win your last race, so celebrate every win like it's your last. I took that advice to heart, and I'm fist pumping right there with Mark Martin in the comfort of my own home on the other side of the country. And it took me a few hours until I could...
That's the first thing that came to my mind is like Kyle Busch. That's exactly what he said, the last race that he won. That is so sad. Now it's like a phrase that is so absolutely ridiculous. It means so much more now. I know, right? Press F for 10 joules. I'm gonna press F. I don't know what that means. I've pressed F. Nothing happens. I'm not known. Okay, I don't know this new tech. Thank you. Yeah, but yeah, nah, that phrase is haunting, man. It's so haunting. I feel like nobody should say it again, ever.
Calm down enough to finally go to sleep. Any Mark Martin fan would have been completely satisfied with his 2009 season right there and then. All we wanted was one more trip to victory lane and we had gotten it. We wanted nothing else. It was the perfect send-off. But then Mark just starts riffing off wins. He won the Southern 500 again with win number 2 on the season, making this his first multi-win season in 10 years. Then at Michigan, he was...
First multi-win in 10 years. So all these other years is maybe one, and the whole year, and then it went like 4 years without winning, and then suddenly he's won 2. Holy camole. Oh, his wife must be getting a whole bunch of loving after all these sessions. I've never seen the number 21. Yeah, I did think of Kyle Busch as well straight away. Wow. Press F.
Was off the pace all day,
I'm seeing
and Hendrick as a whole had struggled
F's in the chat.
Hell, at the time, Mercury had more wins at that track than Chevy. But with a savvy pit call by Alan Gustafson, Mark stretches out the fuel and Jimmy Johnson runs out of gas coming to the white flag, and Greg Biffle takes the lead with Mark hot on his heels. But then on the backstretch, just 1 mile from victory, Biffle runs out of gas and Mark swings by underneath and brings it home for win number 3.
Okay, wait, what's your second comment? Let me see. Snap. Read my second to last comment. Oh, sad that I'm gonna become 20 in the 21st of August. 3 months since KB passed away. Time is flying. How's that 3 months already? Happy birthday in advance. 21st of August. Wow.
His celebration here is even more fun than at Phoenix. He's jumping around and fist pumping all over the place. I remember watching this race from my living room and just completely losing it in front of my family. It was a completely unexpected win, as the last lap was the only lap Mark led all day, and it was nice to be on the side of good luck for once.
He sold out.
But then, during the first race of the chase, Mark wins again at Loudon. The unbelievable is looking more and more likely.
The next.
2nd at Dover, 7th at Kansas, 4th at California, and then on to Charlotte, one of his best tracks. Me and my dad were able to attend that race thanks to a family friend who had tickets he couldn't use, and we'd even gotten a hotel room at the Embassy Suites just down the road. On our way to the track, just as fortune would have it, a crew member on David Reagan's team, the number 6 for Jack Roush, Mark's old ride, offers us a lift to the track. We're talking back and forth between the 3 of us, and the crew guy says, "Yep, I think this is Mark's year. I think he's gonna do it." My dad agrees and then asks what I think. I just take a deep breath and manage to say, "I've been here before." I guess I knew what was about to happen.
Oh, you jinxed it. You should have accepted it. You should have said, yes, it's his year. He's going to win.
Next. A 17th place finish that night wasn't as bad as it could have been, but a bad wreck at Talladega coming to the last lap and Jimmy Johnson narrowly avoiding the big one is enough to put the 48 out ahead for good. Going into the last race at Homestead, Mark is still mathematically eligible, but he needs a miracle that never comes up. Jimmy wins a record-setting 4th championship in a row. But hey, that's what you had to do in order to beat Mark for a championship. You had to go out and break records. You had to overcome massive points deficits. You had to win the most races on the season or the most races ever. And in the case of Jimmy, you had to win the most titles in a row. The 4 men Mark finished second to in the standings would go on to win a total of 21 championships and 301 races in the top division. Mark simply had the misfortune of being one of the greatest drivers of all time while he was competing against the greatest drivers of all time.
That's the problem, isn't it? It was competing with the hardest of the hardest people. Every time he had the opportunity to win, one of the greatest is in the championship. So he had no chance. If it was on form on the different years, then maybe it would have won a couple of championships, not even just one.
Never before had one driver been so admired not only by fans, but his competitors as well. Even the men he finished second to openly wished Mark had beaten them straight up. There was arguably never a driver more deserving of a title in NASCAR history than Mark. But in NASCAR, deserves got nothing to do with the outcome. But the 5th runner-up finish didn't seem to bother Mark. He congratulated his teammate and was all smiles. All he had wanted to do was win a race, and he had never expected to be here at season's end. This is all just icing on the cake. And you know what? I agreed. This was the least painful of all of his would-be championship seasons. Us Mark Martin fans had gotten all we wanted out of the season back at Phoenix. We could not have possibly asked for more, but we'd gotten it anyway. However, Mark's success in 2009 has him reevaluate his career options. He's supposed to go part-time in 2010, but with so much success in 2009, surely he could win a few more races, right? He talks with Rick Hendrick and the boss man says to him, "Mark, we want you to drive this car as long as you will stay here." So he amends his contract to go full-time through 2011. And right off the bat, things look good. He sits on the pole for the 500 in February and finishes 12th. He follows it up with 2 top 5s, and then he just never could replicate his finishes from 2009. He got 7 top 5s on the year and just barely misses the playoffs. In 2011, Mark's thinking about dropping back to part-time again, but Rick is just too nice of a guy to let Mark beat himself up like that, and more or less convinces him to stay in the 5 car for the rest of 2011 as well. And despite 2 poles, his stats were worse than in 2010. In 2012, Mark steps away from Hendrick Motorsports and finally makes good on his plans to go part-time racing again. And he makes an odd choice on where to settle down: Michael Waltrip Racing. At that point, just a 2-win organization, MWR has brought in some serious talent with the likes of Clint Boyer and Martin Truex Jr. That year, both Truex and Boyer make it to the playoffs, and Boyer even manages to finish second in the point standings at the end of the year. And although Mark doesn't win, he sits on 4 poles, strings together a bunch of good runs, and at one point he had 2 races in the bag. One race.
There were a few people that lost out. You're talking about football, snapback. Same with Neymar and Cristiano Ronaldo in the Messi era. Yeah, I think even Ronaldinho at that point as well, because he was great as well, but nobody really talked about him too much. It was always about Messi and Ronaldo. But my goodness gracious, twice only to lose to another teammate. God damn. 2009 was insane, bro. Honestly, that was mental. Oh, so mental. So mental.
At Michigan has him with the fastest car on the track, but as he was leading, a tangle between Bobby Labonte and Montoya sends him into pit road in an uncontrolled spin. He locks it up but hits an exposed pit wall in a horrifying crash. But thankfully, the wall hit right behind the roll cage and seats itself in the rear end housing. Mark laughs it off in post-wreck interviews and walks away without a scratch. But a race in Pocono in the summer is the one that still irks him to this very day. Leading late in the race after a restart, Mark needs to only outrun Joey Logano. But Joey's contract is up at the end of the year, and he's desperate and most likely looking for a job at season's end. Mark had put the spotlight on Joey back when the young gun was just a teenager. He had alerted the media to the kid's talents and did a lot for him early on in his career. He even gave Joey his first nickname, Sliced Bread, because he's the best thing since. Mark's entire career got resurrected when an aging Bobby Allison tapped Mark to drive Roush's 6 car, and Mark said he'd rather slit his own throat than punt Bobby out of the way for a win. But Joey has no such loyalties and slips in behind Mark. Mark had never won at Pocono. He had 7 runner-up finishes and 20 top 5s there.
Damn it, Joey Logano.
Please, just once.
That's why they hate him so much.
Please give us this one minor victory in the grand scheme of things. Just let Mark achieve this one last little thing. Nope. Joey boots him in the corner and gets the checkered flag. Had Mark won, he would have been the oldest winner in NASCAR history at 53 years, 5 months, and 1 day old. It would have been a great send-off, a fantastic final victory, but it just wasn't meant to be. And hell, this wasn't even...
That was a proper villain move right there. He was... Nah, he said, I don't care, old man. I need to win this. It sent him off flying. Oh, no, that is horrible. But at the same time, you can't understand. He's trying to, get his own position for the next year, like a contract.
And the first time somebody in the 20 Home Depot car had done Mark dirty. Tony Stewart in 2000 at the All-Star race just flat out dumped Mark on the backstretch for no reason.
Number 20?
And to this day, I still don't like Tony and Joey specifically for these 2 events. Hey, if my driver can't win a cup after 20 years, then I'm allowed to hold on to decades-long grudges, okay? Mark may forgive, but I don't forget. For 2013, Mark's still with MWR. He finishes 3rd in the Daytona 500, nabs a pole at Phoenix, and the year is fairly ho-hum. But after Denny Hamlin is injured at a crash at California, Mark steps up to fill in for him at Martinsville. It wouldn't be the last time a team called upon his services to substitute an injured driver that year either. Tony Stewart had broken his leg in a sprint car crash, and Stuart Haas calls up the 54-year-old to drive what will eventually be his final few starts. After the final race at Homestead in November of that year, Mark quietly called it a career and turned the page on this part of his life for good.
Wow.
So what are we to make of all of this? What's the point? What's the moral of the story, if you will? Well,
The moral of the story for me is don't be a nice guy, because nice guys finish last or second. Okay, it was too nice. Maybe he should have, pull the elbow out once in a while, go crash into some people, get ahead, get that championship win. But it was too nice.
There really isn't one. Like so many other things in life, there isn't any narrative climax, no definitive conclusion, no triumphant resolution. It just kind of ends one day. Mark's career didn't end with a bang. It didn't end with some fantastic finish. He quietly brought it home mid-pack. Like so many that came before him, one day, everybody cranked up their engines for a race, and you looked up at the ticker, only to not see him there anymore. At the end of the day, this story means whatever you choose to make of it. But I know that's not exactly satisfactory, so let me give you my take. There's a moment that I wasn't able to go into in this series that perfectly encapsulates the mindset of somebody like Mark Martin, and keeps me pressing forward no matter what happens, even to this day. In August of 1998, Mark's father, stepmother, and half-sister died in a plane crash in Nevada. And the week after, he has to race at Bristol. He chokes back tears, dons his helmet, goes out there, and wins. He went out to that race that night because, well, what else was he supposed to do? When he had his entire career yanked out from underneath him and he was broke, he battled back into racing because what else was he supposed to do? Giving up is always an option, but ultimately it doesn't get you anywhere. When faced with the toughest circumstances, crack your knuckles, grit your teeth, and keep going.
Back on it, man.
Because there really isn't any other practical option. And who knows what greatness awaits you at the end of your journey. You may not take home the ultimate prize, but at the end of the day, it's not the trophy that makes the man, it's the man that makes the trophy. Mark knew that. Hell, he knew it right from the beginning.
No,
that cup, that championship, as shiny as it might be, it means nothing if the men who hoist it up at season's end didn't have to climb up a mountain to get it. So, hold your head high, press forward, and try to crack a smile on the way up. Who knows where you'll end up, or who you'll inspire along the way. And to Mark Martin, if you ever happen to come across this series and you made it this far, I'd like to just say one thing. Many remember you as the greatest who never was, but to me and so many others, you are the greatest who ever was. And we may never see your like ever again.
Wow. Wow. Wowza. Mark Martin apology, the appreciation tour. Wow, what a driver, bro. It was so close so many times, but just couldn't finish. Oh my goodness gracious. That would be something like, I don't know, Daniel Ricciardo in Formula One. Had the great cars, never got the championship. There's a few of them as well that were very great for a very long time. Just never could get it, like David Coulthard as well, one of them. Oh my goodness gracious. That was crazy. That was mental. Anyway, what should we watch next? This win, so the winless is him. Somebody recommended the winless earlier as well. It's the same guy. It's number 2. I know it now. I see the number 2. I know it's him. He just couldn't finish, bro. It's so sad. You feel like he can come out of retirement and get a top 20? Winless is another driver? A what? All right, let's check out Winless then, because this number 2 is cursed. Number 2 is cursed. What in the... I see the 2 and I thought, oh yeah, that's him. He just can't win. So, is anybody a successful... I can't speak. Is there a successful number 2 driver in NASCAR? Is the car a successful car? Has it won championships and races? Oh, actually, it's won races. We know it's won races. Actually, no. Was it winning races? Because that was in a different series, not the... I don't know. That's a weird one. All right, let's do one more. Let's do this one then. Winless with the number 2. All right, let me do... Should I do an intro? Let me do an intro. How do you do this then? I've not done this streaming thing in a long time. I wanted to say marker or something. I remember. Oh, there we go. I'll say stream marker. Nowadays, Mark's retirement job is making custom coach-built RVs. Oh, my man likes to be on the road. Hell yeah. Oh, that's nice. Now, all these rich people and the businesses they be doing is absolutely beautiful. Wow. Man, Mark Martin was, I still can't get over that. Mark Martin was the legend, was a G. It was just so unlucky that it was racing when it was racing against the best of the best and just never could get it. Bad timing for him. Bad timing. Anyway, let's enjoy some of this coof candy. So let me do intro. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video. Yes, right now we are gonna check out the driver that can never win. All right, this is an early production video, so obviously it's gonna be epic. Let's jump in.
This video is sponsored by Koofandy. Can you feel that? The searing summer heat being blown away by autumn's breeze? This pretentious monologue is probably making you want to choke me through the screen. Well, too bad, you can't. Anyways, Koofandy, high-quality men's clothing. Of course, you already know that they're sponsoring Christopher Bell at Martinsville in a couple of weeks, and that the man knows how to dress, but did you know about their other collections too? Koofandy has a vast variety of choices to choose from, and were kind enough to send me this black button-down and these white dress pants to try on for myself. And I love them so much, I even wore them to the race. Yep, it was definitely not too hot to wear this. That's really me right there, yep. So if you're looking to look your best for the final stretch of the NASCAR season, go to Koofandy.com and use my code EP25 for 25% off site-wide. Again, that's EP25 at Koofandy.com. Thanks again to Koofandy for sponsoring this video, and I hope you enjoy.
It's always so funny that every time you see early production in a video, you actually see him properly. It's when he's doing ad. It's always so funny.
The great Reese Bobby once said,
"Man, I gotta lay off the peyote."
Oh, wait, wrong quote.
If you ain't first, you're last.
This sentence, while
that's
technically not true, perfectly embodies the spirit of competition. No matter what history you hold or how you go about getting there, everybody who enters a game or a fight or a battle or a race does it to win. Of course, some have better odds than others, often reflected by how many cylinders they're running on, but most will tell you that the whole point of even being there is to win. And in the closing laps of the 2020 Truck Series Championship race, Brett Moffitt looked poised to do just that. Leading by half a straightaway in the waning laps, the only thing that could stop him was a freak accident. Though, as we all know by now, NASCAR can get pretty freaky. Of course, a truck that was 3 laps down had to spoil the party for everyone, and on the ensuing restart, we would witness Moffitt suffer one of the greatest late race collapses we've ever seen. But the third law states that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Enter his teammate.
The California kid is gonna do it! Sheldon Creed wins the championship!
Okay.
In a single lap, the number 2 truck soared from 9th to 1st, stealing the race and the championship right out from under Brett. Though winning races and championships in a truck is nothing new to this driver. Winner of more stadium super truck races than any other driver in the sport's short history, and now a NASCAR Truck Series champion, the subject of today's video is Sheldon Creed.
So the number 2 car is not cursed. Okay, thank you very much. I thought it was. Yeah, but what I did get it wrong because Mark was driving a number 2 at his wherever, like the ARC series or O'Reilly series, wherever that was before he went to the Cup series. So yeah, my bad on that one. Yeah, well, Sheldon and Creed. Okay, cool.
Strange name, I know.
Sheldon?
Yes, that's my first name.
And it would be forever etched onto a NASCAR championship trophy. But hold on there, partner. While this particular chapter has a happy ending, the next one wouldn't be so rewarding. While he still won a handful of races in 2021, he narrowly missed the final round of the playoffs and wouldn't get a shot to defend his crown. Although, if you ask me, what's more embarrassing was him not having a sponsor in Daytona. The series champion, in the second race of the year, had no sponsor.
What are you doing?
But while Sheldon Creed might have missed out on his championship race, Daniel Hemrick didn't. Heading into the next day's Xfinity Series Championship, Hemrick had just completed one of the most consistent yet somehow disappointing runs in recent memory. Heading into the title decider, he was coming off a stretch of 6 straight weeks with only one finish worse than 5th.
Ooh,
that, however,
top
wasn't the
fives
stat
all
on
around.
everyone's mind. that would be the series record he had just tied in Texas. In that race, he collected his 10th career second-place finish, tying him with Dale Jarrett for the most runner-ups without a single win. That's right, he wasn't just winless on the year, he was winless through his whole career in every level of NASCAR, becoming the first driver to reach the championship 4 without ever reaching victory lane. That fact alone, along with his hauler breaking down on the way to the track, had all eyes on him heading into the final.
If your truck is breaking down on the way to the track, you know you're not having a great time. You know you're finished. Cedric drives the number 2, and he won the Daytona 500 3 years ago. Ah, well, number 2 is going strong, I guess.
Race in Phoenix. Could he do the impossible? Could a driver who has never won a race win a championship? Well, technically no, because he won this race.
And a 4, they're side by side. Hemrick's gonna win it at the line.
Wow, they are battling to the end.
Hemrick just silenced the doubters. He's made his own history.
If you want to hear a more long-winded account of this story, you can check out this video from a few years ago, although it hasn't aged so well since he won a second race earlier this year. Thanks, Daniel. Also, I may or may not have quoted Eminem at the end of it. Sorry, I was still new. But with this tale's incredible climax, the record was...
Quoted Eminem
I went
too much.
I was still new. But with this...
This was the rubbing that the other vehicle was doing on him while they were crossing the finish line. Like, it was removing the paint from his car. He was fighting. He says, nah, I gotta win this. No, if I gotta crash you out, I'm gonna crash you out. But for some reason, they didn't crash. My God. All his rubber was on the car. Ain't that crazy? Yes, Nathan. Yeah, we did a Mark Martin. It was amazing.
Tale's incredible climax, the record was set in stone. Dale Jarrett and Daniel Hemrick. 10 runner-ups before their first Xfinity Series win. So why do I bring this up? I mean, just a few minutes ago, we were talking about some dude named Sheldon. Well, that record, originally held by DJ, stood unmatched for over 35 years. It took
that right there was an explosion waiting to happen. Imagine that sparking up and blowing up. Oh my goodness gracious. Who the hell leaves a tank in the car? I know people do this in the petrol stations. They leave the nozzle in and drive away and then pull the hose off the goddamn pump. But who leaves a Okay, that's a bit wild.
Originally held by DJ, stood unmatched for over 35 years. It took decades before it could even be touched and still never passed, which is probably a good thing. Nobody really wants this record.
I don't really want this.
But that does beg the question, when would we see its next challenger? It'd have to be a while, right? By the way, next year, Sheldon Creed is moving up to the Xfinity Series. I think you see where this is going.
All right, Sheldon.
Lawrence is going to try to get 2 for 1. He's got the 9. Will he get to the inside of the 2 as well?
Oh, there's a lot of contact. I want to do. And now Larson readies the car again. Watch Noah Gregson right here. The 9 looking low. Noah Gregson.
Oh, Sheldon's finished. He can't come back to the... Oh my God, they're all smashing into the wall.
He's in the wall. Can he keep the throttle up? Here comes Noah.
He's trying to ride the wall. He's trying to do the Hail Melon. He couldn't do
of
the
all the
Hail
ways
Melon.
to come up short, this was pretty badass. After a hum-ho rookie season so far, Creed surprised everyone with his late surge in Darlington. He even rode the wall before it was cool. And although he couldn't quite hang on to P1, P2 was still his new career best, hence his lack of remorse after the race.
Hope I gave the fans a show there. That was a wild ending, and I want to thank them for sticking out the rain.
Oh, Sheldon, if only you knew what the future had in store.
One more time around.
This is quite recent, 2022.
Whoa! Ty Gibbs out front, Jones around, caution comes out.
That's right. Often lost in this finish was Sheldon Creed sneaking by to take his second place, beating the other 7 playoff drivers in the process. Creed hadn't even made the playoffs this year, but his consistently improving results had everyone convinced that things could change come 2023. And in Talladega, they seemed to be right. With just a lap and a half to go, Creed took the point, holding firm and holding serve. It's just a shame that his teammate Austin Hill had to blow a tire and leave a piece of his quarter panel in turn 1. And no, that is not the last time he will come up in this video.
Those pesky teammates, Joey. Ugh.
I'm glad we never had an issue like that, Brad.
Unfortunately, the following restart didn't shake Creed's way, and he'd have to settle for finishing second to Jeb.
Wait, did they run into the piece of thing, or is just because of the caution made him go backwards from the restart?
The following restart didn't shake Creed's way, and he'd have to
there you
settle
go.
for finishing
There.
second to Jeb. Though shortly after Ty Gibbs
Damn.
received a taste of his own medicine, and Josh Berry slipped on a banana peel, and Sam Mayer trailed with a tire rub heading into the last lap, could Creed finally hold on, right?
And now side by
No, he can't make the corner. He can't make it.
You had an opportunity, and you blew it.
Who knows? Maybe he has OCD.
You had an opportunity and you blew it. He definitely blew it. He couldn't make that corner. Was he going way too
He
fast
slipped
into
on a
that
banana
corner?
peel, and Sam Mayer trailed with a tire rub heading into the last lap, could Creed finally hold on,
All he had to do
right?
was just hold it. Oh my god. He left it inside wide open. He left it wide open.
Heading into the
Oh
last
my
lap, could
gosh.
Creed finally hold on,
What
right?
up, Die Hard?
And now side by side for the lead. Creed misses turn 7.
You had an opportunity.
Oh, he
You blew
bottled it.
Who knows? Maybe he has OCD and just wanted the car numbers to match the finishing positions. But generational fumble aside, the wheel has to turn at some point. You can't just finish second forever. And hey, there's always next week.
They're side by side. Allgaier at the line. He'll win at Daytona.
Ooh, photo finish.
5/1000ths of a second
Oh
away
my
from his
gosh.
first Xfinity Series win.
An interval so small that the camera could barely even recognize it. So small that I can't
Damn.
capture it in this 30 FPS video. 5/1000ths of a second. That was all that stood between victory and Sheldon.
Oh my. Bro, that guy, I thought it was a bad driver when I saw the title. Like, he can't win. I just thought it was bad, like he was hanging out in the back. I didn't know it was the modern day version of Mark Martin in the number 2 car as well. He was getting close, second place. Like, it was even closer than Mark Martin was to the championship. He tried so hard. Oh man, but he's gonna kick himself. Oh my gosh, is he still racing right now, or is he retired? He won a race now. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Things have changed. Hallelujah. I was feeling so bad for him. I said, this guy, he should win at least. Welcome back, Lapis. Welcome back.
He had come up short once again. Imperceivably short, but short nonetheless. And now boasting 5 runner-up finishes in just under a year, he was already halfway to the record that
hallelujah.
nobody wants.
I'm happy for him.
Silver
now.
lining, though, is that he did make the 2023 playoffs and fared well in the first round. If only the same could be said for the second, as he wound up in must-win territory at the elimination race in Martinsville. To stay in the hunt, he had to drive desperate, and while he stayed in the mix through most of the race, that desperation wouldn't really show until the final restart. Remember this guy? His teammate, Austin Hill? This is where he re-enters the story. Lined up beside Creed with 2 laps to go. I'll just roll it.
He's never won
He's
an
gonna send
Xfinity
him.
Series. They smoked the tires. Here comes the 7. Contact made. The 7 of Allgaier on the inside.
Oh, it's spun out again.
Allgaier's gonna win
No!
at Martinsville.
It was so close.
It's bad enough when you get eliminated from the playoffs. It's bad enough to be doored by your teammate. It's bad enough knowing that if he hadn't doored you, you both likely could have raced for the
1 and 2.
championship the following week. But of all the ways to lose again, of
Wow.
all the ways for this to end, Creed lost in the same way to the same car with the same paint scheme as last time.
I mean, if I wanted to
Damn.
guarantee myself a win, I do what Ty did last year and I spin him out into 1, right?
But hey, the season still had 1 race left. Like I said earlier, there's always next week.
Cole Custer is an Xfinity Series champion.
Even the most dispassionate have to admit, this is getting brutal. For the
Wow.
second time in 2023, he finished back-to-back races following the leader, making a total of 5 runner-ups on the year and 7 in total. Perhaps all he needed was a reset. Since his car owner was publicly calling him stupid in the media, you can bet he wouldn't be returning to the 2 car. But it wouldn't be long before he found a new chance with a new team. Joe Gibbs Racing, 2021 and 2022 series champions.
You said, keep in mind, Austin Hill is driving Kyle Busch's old car right now. This is why people hate him. Oh my goodness. Okay, I didn't know that. Wow. We were. Sheldon Creed is still racing, and one of the things I can't remember where. But yeah, he's won it this year. Overly sensitive. Hey, yeah, he's in the wrong business if he's sensitive that people are racing against him, no?
With this change came as great a shot as ever to finally get the monkey off his back. And while the 2023 season might have been over and there wasn't a race next week, there's always next year. Oh, wait, really?
Sheldon Creed gonna do it again. The Georgia drivers got the hat
Hold
trick
up,
at
wait
the
a minute.
World Center
Corey.
Racing.
He did what? He racked up over $6 billion in damages last season. How the hell does one person rack up $6 billion in damages? These cars are not that expensive. So where the hell did $6 billion come from? Did they blow up a stadium or something? What? That's mental.
Austin Hill gets it done.
Picking up right where he left off in 23, Creed opened the 2024 season with his third runner-up finish in a row. And because life is cruel, it had to be behind his ex-teammate and now rival Austin Hill, who won his third season opener in a row. It was beginning to feel inevitable that this man and this record were destined for each other. And sure enough, after an up-and-down early stretch to the season, he fell just shy once again in Sonoma, failing to catch Shane Van Gisbergen, although, to be fair, who can? And at least this time it came to the chagrin of Austin Hill, so there's that, I guess. Also fitting that he did this in an orange number 18 car. Anyways, just 2 weeks later in New Hampshire, Creed held the lead at the white flag and could have claimed the checkered too, if not for his new teammate Christopher Bell taking him 3 wide and also taking the win.
He can't, his teammates are just destroying him. He needs a new teammate. Is that what's happened to 2026? He got a new teammate that actually worked with him to help him win his first race.
Sheldon Creed finishes second for the 10th time in his career.
That's not a stat I wanted to tie. Most seconds before a win. Yeah, I don't know. We're going to win one of these things if we keep running how we are.
I feel the need to bring back that Talladega
He
Nights
seems so
quote
chill,
because,
though.
believe it or not, everyone, from the bushwhacker stinking up the show to the back marker who's just happy being in the show, everyone is trying to win. And in NASCAR, there's a lot of winning to go around. More than virtually any other motorsport in the world, you're likely to at least occasionally, accidentally, miraculously back your way into a win.
Yep.
But not him. Never him. For one reason or another, Sheldon Creed is the exception. His very existence goes against every statistical regularity that we've come to know. So it should come as no surprise that a month later in Michigan, yet again to the Hellman's number 7 car, Sheldon finished second.
Oh my gosh.
If you asked most drivers to choose between finishing second or last, most would resoundingly take the latter, because at least when you get wrecked out of the race or are just slow as a snail, there's no delusions of victory. The cruel consideration of coming back can't torture your mind, but when you run second, that's all you can think about. And Sheldon had now experienced that thought more times than anybody else without ever experiencing what it was like on the other side. With this 11th career runner-up, he took sole possession of the most second-place finishes without a single win to his name. And while I wish I could end it there, he's just kept on piling them up ever since.
You're seeing right here, Sheldon Creed's trying to go by him, but he can't. Connor Zilic is going to win in his first start at the Glen. Now he's going to...
The Glen, Connor Zilic hasn't won in NASCAR, right? So they're combining this and the O'Reilly series. Is that what it is? They're combining both stats. Also, how did he do it? Let me see what you said. Right hook in a driver at Indianapolis, getting fined, causing multiple car crashes. Whoa. And getting them fined because infringement on rules. Connor's first Infinity was his first start, and Watkins is specific to O'Reilly. Oh, okay. Oh, I thought we were looking at it's not been in the cup yet. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't recognize the cars. I don't know the difference that much. I apologize for that.
Win at Bristol, and he wins the regular season. And guess who finished second?
It's amazing.
Will there be contact? There is. There goes Gray. Austin Hill out of nowhere. It's going to win. Oh my goodness. Martinsville.
Sheldon is a O'Reilly driver. That's why
second.
I didn't realize that. That's why I was asking at the beginning. I said, is this still racing? Because I don't recognize his name. Okay. All right. Now I get it. Because I'm like, I don't remember my Connor Zilic 88 winning yet in the Cup Series.
Is there enough time? Driving down below Almirola, coming back to the checkers. Creed is there, but it's Almirola who wins it at Bristol.
As of the writing of this video, he's padded out the record to 15. 15 times now he's stood on the left side of the podium.
Also, question before I carry on. I want to know how do they look different? How do you know which one is without knowing the drivers or the paint scheme to know this is a O'Reilly series? How do you differentiate these from the Cup series by just looking at the car? Like, this is a Cup series and this is a O'Reilly series, because I can't tell what the difference is. Maybe there are some things that will be different, but I don't know it. They look the same to me, unfortunately. I'll catch up later because I know my chat is a bit behind.
But still, after over 3 years and 130 starts, has yet to touch the top. If this quote was true, you could say Sheldon Creed has finished in last a lot. In fact, he's never done anything but. But should that really diminish his reputation as a driver? Is this all he should be known for?
Oh, hell no! Hell no!
Sorry, Reese Bobby, but most NASCAR races consist of around 40 cars, so finishing in second is no small feat, much less doing it 15 times over. And those 15 times are just a microcosm of all the races he's run and very well could have won. For example, he's also finished in third, a lot. Like in the 2024 Darlington race where he led with...
It was just unlucky. Green windshield is usually O'Reilly. Wait, hold on. Is it easy now? Breacher the Cup Series as numbers on the front of the door rather than the middle of the door, in front of the door. Okay. They use 5 bro, I'm not gonna see 5 lug nut wheels while it's flying in front of me. So hold on, wait a minute, let me pause, let me see how many lug nuts you have. I won't be able to tell. Do they have different cars? Do they have a Supra in Cup Series? I don't remember that. Gen 5 cut cars with new body panels. More like an Australian, I don't even know what that looks like either, to be honest. So look at the door at the front is O'Reilly, and then numbers in the middle. I said door at the front. Number at the front of the door. Okay. The spoiler. What's the difference in the spoiler? Is it that it doesn't have the clear spoiler thing on the top of it? Green windshield. Oh yeah, you can actually see that it says Xfinity, right? Oh, is that the? You can't tell. I can't tell. It says Xfinity. Does that mean the sponsor of the car? Sometimes they are sponsors. No Supras are in the Cup Series. Ah, there you go. The Camry is. So if I see a Supra, I know we're talking about that. All right, cool. It's all okay. So okay, I get it now. More to the front for Cup Series with the number, and then more to the back. Okay. Rectangular spoilers. Cup has rectangular spoilers. What do these people have? It's rectangular too. Pull up a photo of O'Reilly series and Cup car. You'll notice subtle differences. Okay, I'll have to do that. I'll have to do that later.
Just 5 to go, but suffered a poorly timed caution and a bad pit stop. Or all the times where he's gotten flat out crashed out, like
that
in 2022 at Bristol,
shout.
where while racing for the lead, he became a casualty of the war between Gragson and Gibbs. My point is that if you race for long enough, you'll always have those that you shoulda, coulda, woulda won. Creed just has the misfortune of having only those types of races. But it's not the trophy that makes the man.
He gave him the finger.
And when he finally gets his, you can bet it will be euphoric.
I want to see him win, actually. I want to see that win.
I truly believe that one of these days, hopefully soon, he'll finally break through. If Dale Jarrett could do it, if Daniel Hemrick could do it, he can too. But until that day, Sheldon Creed can both revel and stew in holding the one record that nobody wants.
Bro, I feel like nobody will be touching that record anytime soon. I don't even know how many it is up until he wins. I need to find out at some point.
Okay, hang on. Let's revisit the pain just one more time because I kind of glossed over this one, 2024, Watkins Glen. You see, at the time, Sheldon was pushing 27 years old. Not the youngest in the field, but still relatively so. Though I want you to guess the age of the driver.
He's very calm.
I'll give you a hint. He's younger.
18.
Was he 25, 23,
It's
21?
18.
Was he even
18.
in his 20s? No. The man who handed Creed his 12th runner-up finish was just 18 years old.
Yay, I
The craziest
know
part,
NASCAR
this
start.
was his very first start, though it wouldn't be his last, not by a long shot. I think it's high time we talk about this guy, because I don't say this often, so trust me when I say, he could be the future of NASCAR.
If he doesn't break his
See you
arm
in the next
again.
video.
Oh, wow. What high pop for Conor Zilic. Shame that he's not, driving like we're all expecting him to drive in the Cup Series. So I still want him to win. I want him to be the best of the best. Maybe next year, when it's practiced a bit more, it might get to the point where he's starting to win a lot of the races. You know what I'm saying? I still have hope for him. Okay. Watch the spring 2006 Atlanta race or Rally Series after this. Oh man, if I play that, I'll have to probably delete it later because NASCAR's gonna kick my ass for that. The spring 2026 Atlanta race, is that the one that he won? Hey, what's up, Marcus? What's that then? There'll be 50 minutes practices. Yeah, that's the one. Is there an highlight of it? Because I don't need to see the whole thing. I just want to see the end. I want to see him celebrate. It feels like it should be a glorious occasion. I want to see a celebration. So what did you say to look for again? 2026 Atlanta. O'Reilly. All right, let's do 6 Atlanta. All right. I don't even know how to spell O'Reilly. That's how bad it is. O'Reilly. Is it double L? Oh, there we go. Extended highlights. "27 minutes, it's too long. Final 12 laps. Okay, final 12 laps sounds amazing. And I will probably not add this to the VOD because I know what NASCAR's gonna do to me. Actually, I might keep it. Let's see, because they're gonna copyright the whole video. You know how they do at the NASCAR. They don't like anybody.
Oh, that's actually not a bad thing.
Video. All right, let's jump into the last. How many laps did I say it was? The final 12 laps. And see my guy actually win in the number. Is it still number 2 at this point, or has it changed numbers? Because I don't know who to be looking for. Let me see. I can't see it on the list. This is the wrong race. Damn. All right, let me go back. Sorry. 2026. I don't want to watch it. I might just play this and skip to the end. Is it this one, right? All right. Is 00 now.
It's gonna be
I like the way that you put that in capital letters. I appreciate that. Wrong race flex. 23 to go. Let's skip towards the end here. All right, let's see.
up for Raja because he saw what was happening. Whoever was behind him did
There you
not.
go, Creed.
Josh did a great job there.
Your fault.
There was a chance where he was going to hit Raja as they were slowing down on the backstretch and got the car to spin back around, but then got in the inside wall.
Is it not this one
You see the
even?
left rear going down.
There's multiple races below the ad. Hold up, wait a minute before we carry on, because I see him in the 00. I'm gonna get confirmation before we. This is the one. But it's later on. Yeah. It's I can see the peak. I can see the big hump at the back here. You know, let's get closer to the hump.
Can he do anything with it? Got to the outside of Nick Sanchez.
So 3 laps to go.
Beautiful move there. Puts him right behind Ross Chastain when he's going to need some help. Jesse Love, the reigning champ, is trying to make a late rally. Side by side with his teammate for second. Sanchez starting to fade. Here comes Creed again in the outside lane. Parker Retzlaff is there. Don't forget about Sam Mayer. You can't count out Austin Hill, though. We know how good he is. It looked like like he was out of it a lap ago.
Is Ross Chastain gonna bustle
leads
it?
2 to go.
He's gonna bustle it, isn't
needs
it?
that help. He needs Retzloff to get there. Somebody to the rear bumper. There is Retzloff, but now 21 of Austin Hill clears him. He's going to have that push from Sheldon Creed.
He's going to have 1 lap to try to get it done. The 2 car coming back on the inside. Look at him go for the lead right here into turn 3.
Crossover. Here's Austin Hill down to the inside. 21 back on point. He slides up in front of Ross Chastain. White flag is out. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One.
1 lap to go.
Trying to repeat.
White flag,
you've got to get this run. You've got to back up.
Creed is still nowhere near the front. Well, he is near the front, but like you wouldn't think he was gonna win
on the
this.
outside, or Jesse Love if you choose the bottom.
Boys, Austin Hill has
Who the hell is at the bottom there?
He's put himself in the right position to win.
Here comes the
6th
run.
race.
What does he do with it? To the bottom. Chastain.
Oh.
There goes Austin Hill. He hangs on to it here. Sheldon Creed out front, looking for his first career victory. He's going to do it. Sheldon Creed delivers at Atlanta.
Awesome job by Creed.
Whoa! Oh, I'm saying they say my stream is blocked because the video belongs to somebody else. Bro, I can't even watch the race. I can't even watch it. YouTube is already warning me. It says my stream is gonna be blocked. They hate it. Nah, that was crazy. It didn't look like it was gonna do anything. And then somebody, just this is what I say about NASCAR. You just never know who's gonna win because somebody's gonna sneeze 200 miles away. That affects you. 200 miles away, and then you happily in front doing like, yeah, I'm gonna win this one, and now right, you at the back. Yep. Yeah, there's a heads up. We've detected video in your stream belonging to somebody else. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. If you plan to continue, please ensure that. What did it say? Yeah, copyright is crazy with NASCAR. That's why when you see the video and I put a blue screen on it, that's what's happening. I can't believe they did it so fast as well. I thought, you know, they'll give me a chance to at least watch the video and then review it after. God damn. Yeah, AI is ruining stuff. A non-NASCAR fan cannot even enjoy watching the NASCAR video. And that's some crazy shit. Anyway, is there another video that you would like me to watch? That we can get into that. We can do one more video. All right, where was I before I put this into the playlist? Take a look at that iceberg. Oh, I just went past it. Let me see. Iceberg. Oh, this one right here. The Nashville Fairgrounds anti-racing crowd at a new low. This one? 3 days ago. All right, let's jump in and let's try that. Drama and lies. I think I might have seen Dramas and Lies. Oh, yeah, this one, same one. I've not seen it. That's a lie. I've not seen it. Okay. Let's check this one out.
The battle for the future.
This. So, yeah, AI is a pain in the ass right now. Anyway, let's do an intro for this one, so maybe I can cut it out later and put it as a full video. The worst performance by a race driver, vanilla water. What the hell is that? Try radioactive race highlights with radio. Yeah, they're gonna kick my ass with that as well. They've been trying to shut it down. It's rough. All right, let's do a quick intro on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We are gonna check out this video by Iceberg. Is the Nashville Fairgrounds anti-racing crowd hit a new low. Something is happening. They're banning the fairground. Yeah, let's go find out some more information about this mess. Okay, let's jump in.
The battle for the future of the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway has hit a new dirty low. And with it, we are seeing the depths that the...
Did I say vanilla water? To be honest, I don't think you have to watch this. I'll watch it.
Anti-racing side will go to that arguably could be illegal in order to try and get this place wiped off the face of the earth. And I think in a lot of ways it shows that if the right things line up, like they almost did a few years ago, racing at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for NASCAR could be a reality. So the local news channel here, News Channel 5, did an investigative report, and I want to talk about it because there are some interesting tidbits that need to get out to the bigger and wider audience of the world.
One concern about the decades-long racetrack debate has been that unless you sit down with both sides, you're not getting the whole truth.
Do people even sit down when they're watching this race? Because it looks like everybody was standing up. Yeah, no, I'm not good. Yeah, the radioactive is, yeah, no chance, bro.
But the people we've seen in green shirts that appeared practically overnight are about as close as we've been to those behind the petition to end racing at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And what we heard
so the racetrack's being torn down anyways.
Couldn't have been any further from the truth.
They're tearing the racetrack down?
That's like
why are they tearing it down?
They're
doing
it's a lie.
Long green flag runs. Oh, okay.
Not the truth at all. Now, I have the privilege of knowing a lot of people that have gone in and out of the Nashville Fairgrounds, and I know for a fact that it's not being demolished.
What cars are these? I don't know what these cars are. What are they racing? Nashville, Tennessee. So it's just Fairground Speedway, but I don't know what type of cars these are.
Demolished. And the big question
SRX
we need
cars.
to ask is, if it's being demolished, why do you need a petition? That's the big question that needs to be asked right off the bat with this entire debacle. And with it, too, you also then have to ask, why are these people going out and saying these lies? Well, it's obvious they have an agenda, or at least those that are organizing them to go out have an agenda as well. Now, I went on to the local Nashville subreddits, as well as the subreddit for the soccer team that they have. And just about every one of them talked about how there were people in these green shirts at Publix nearby, at stores, on street sides, who were coming up and basically just saying everything they could about anti-racing, about different things like that.
It must cost a lot of money to do something like that, though. Like a whole racing series by, I'm sure it's not just him. It would have like supporters and everybody or investors start getting to the thing. But owning a whole goddamn race series is expensive.
And misrepresenting exactly what's going on. So the petition they're trying to get signed is more or less meant to try and get a resolution put on the ballot next year to try and change the charter agreement of the city that was last amended with the fairgrounds in 2011 that preserved racing being there. This coincides directly with the way that the soccer team's owner, John Ingram, has pushed a lot of anti-racing and just full-on destruction of racing groups in the Nashville area.
I don't know him and I hate him already. What the hell does racing got to do with you? What's your beef with racing and trying to destroy racing? What is wrong with you? Just because you can't drive doesn't mean you need to take away racing from the people that love racing. And I bet you is one of the people that want to probably introduce electric engine into racing.
Yeah. And with that, too, it goes back on what he said he would do when they initially brought the stadium there of working hand in hand with the racetrack. Instead, trying to line his pockets and get more influence in the city through affordable housing as well as through dirty politics.
So what? It doesn't want people to come to racing at the same time as there's football going on. Yeah, but I don't see how the two things are like causing problems. Just mind your business.
NASCAR's going to racetrack because it's not generating enough revenue and profit.
NASCAR's never lost a dime at this place. Never.
That one got you.
Oh, it did. That's funny. I had not heard that one.
Let's be clear, there are no plans confirmed to demolish this 120-year-old racetrack, and NASCAR certainly can't demolish city-owned property.
They said destroy it. That's
Even the petition thrown out by a court earlier this year for being too vague now clarifies that signing this means you want to replace auto racing with affordable housing as a protected use of the fairgrounds. It doesn't guarantee affordable housing, it just gets racing out of the picture. But if you're convinced the track will be torn down anyway, signing this begins to make sense.
I mean, I like affordable housing, and shoot, I need affordable housing myself.
So a couple things here. Yeah, NASCAR hasn't generated enough revenue because NASCAR doesn't own the track, and NASCAR hasn't raced at the track in the highest levels for decades.
You know what I'm saying? You should have researched that. You know, I mean, they're not going to do that, but because they know ways to get around these things. They know if I make enough noise and I rob the right people, you know, slide money in some people's back pockets, I can get what I want and get rid of the racing track. They know all of this before they get into. It's like the people that complain that there's a racing track near their houses when they were building the house, you went to look at the house, you saw the racing track, and then you start complaining later. How about shut the hell up?
Of course they haven't generated enough revenue. This is just showing how misinformed these people
I don't understand what this thing come up on the screen.
Or how much they're blatantly trying to misinform people. And I only say that they are maybe misinformed because it seems like they don't know what they're talking about, as you'll see a little bit later. And with it too, it just proves even further the dirty games being played here. Every time one of these people is asked about it, they say NASCAR's doing this, NASCAR's doing that. And what any properly informed citizen would know is that SMI and NASCAR have taken every legal route so far, even ones detrimental to their cause of getting racing here and renovating the fairgrounds in order to try and gain that support from the local community. So it's so laughable to hear that, well, NASCAR said this and NASCAR said that. No, NASCAR didn't say a damn thing, little lady. You might need to pipe down. And in general, I think all of these people need to pipe down because I think they are barking up a massive legal tree that none of them know the heights
barking up the wrong tree.
The job description online says that they collect signatures for the Restore Our Fairgrounds referendum. No mention of racetrack or who exactly is paying for them to be here.
We can direct you to someone that has more information. Would you like the name and number of that person?
Really a petition to get rid of the racetrack?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Is it a petition to get rid of the racetrack?
What do the people working there actually know what job they're doing, or they just care about collecting their $10 an hour or wherever how much they're paying them? Because she don't care. She was just like, yeah, listen, I just get paid. I don't care about all this shit anyway.
Some weren't exactly thrilled to answer our questions when they knew cameras were rolling, but then we heard one person say this.
We're hired by CARE of Nashville, which is Citizens Against Racing Expansion.
There
As
you
in,
go.
the same neighborhood group determined to keep NASCAR from one day renovating this track could be paying someone else to collect the roughly 55,000 signatures needed to put this petition on a ballot next year. We've sent questions on multiple occasions to CARE and those behind the petition that have not been answered.
Absolutely.
See, they don't care. They just go there to make money. These are the petition people. They don't give a damn about the track or anything like that. They just want to go there, make money, go buy their houses wherever they want to do. They don't care about the bigger picture of what they're doing. It doesn't matter to them. Next week, they're going to be somewhere else petitioning for, you know, dogs with one eye or something. I don't know.
Cowards from those who don't want to answer actual real questions that would inform those who may or may not sign this petition, but also to those who are setting this entire thing up. It is CARE, who was the Restore Our Fairgrounds group, who had the Cumberland Yard account, who had all of these different BS accounts and BS websites put together. It's all under that umbrella, which makes you think it's probably coming from one brain trust here, which is more than likely John Ingram, the owner of the soccer stadium and the soccer team next door. He has said the same things, had the same pushes, and they coincide really, really well. I'm not saying that they're exactly the same, but they sure do rhyme a lot. And
I mean, if it quacks like a duck, and wherever walks like a duck or whatever, I don't know the saying anymore. The chances are it is a duck, you know. But all these rich people, like when it comes to rich people things, I can't get involved. I don't know what the hell is going on in the back end. They know what the hell they're doing in the back there. You just don't know. We poor people over here, we don't know what's happening.
You're seeing the dirty politics games that every major city has. You're seeing proxy groups go out for bigger ones that don't want to get their hands dirty. And this is just another one of those instances. The big part of going against them is spreading the word like this, like they're doing in this news report, which I got to say, great work by Channel 5 on this.
Great work.
This is a great showing of investigative journalism. This is how you have to go out and get the truth and push back. Because at the end of the day, as race fans, we need to understand the truth and the real push that's legal is all on our side right now.
They're going to demolish the racetrack. Yes. And that's been decided by the city, I guess. Or whoever, or I think the county, or the board for the fairgrounds.
And as for who's paying for this new affordable housing,
We have the information right.
I'll save you the trouble.
Also, affordable housing for who? Because I like the way they throw around the phrase affordable housing, and then you get the price, and it is not really affordable.
That's the petition she's pointing at, and it's not on there.
What happened with this petition was a complete falsification of what it was meant to do.
I mean, in all honesty, the other side is so blatantly in the wrong here that if you showed this to somebody who has no understanding of what's going on, somebody who is not a race fan, not in the local Nashville community, not a soccer fan.
Basically, get the track, destroy it completely, and then leave it as open ground for eternity. Or you build a more on it. They'll build something else that is not the housing that they're talking about. Yeah, that is so stupid.
They would think this is either A, an SNL skit that's just really bad, or B, that this is a biased report. Now, let me tell you that they do not have that bad of reporting in any way. I said before, I think they're actually really damn good at what they do. It just shows how bad they look when you put a little bit of sunlight on this just festering wound underneath the entire argument.
A signature on this petition gathered under false pretenses destroys the future of this facility.
And further on this, I'm just going to say the dirty part out loud.
Wait, is that the football stadium? That is the football stadium. It's literally right next door. Wow. I thought maybe it might be a few, streets away. But it's right next door to it. God damn. Okay, now I know why they're doing that. It's going to turn into something else. It might... What is beneficial to a football stadium? Like a training ground or something? I don't know. Oh yeah, I'm here, bro. When I start early enough, it makes sense. But this is the last video though, and then I gotta take my ass to bed.
They probably can't say on the news. It's blatant fraud. Say it for what it is. It is fraud, and it's rampant across America. Nashville is no different whatsoever when it comes to this. But when you look at how this is all going across at this point, when you look at the way that they're framing this, there's either two ways that you can look at it. One, like I said, fraud. They are blatantly misrepresenting the truth, getting people to sign under false pretenses, or they're getting people who don't know at all what they're doing to go out there. So maybe that's their loophole.
And this is what happens. A lot of people follow blindly without even doing their own research. Wherever they hear on the side of the road is what they believe. I know people that believe that just me being in this country, I get paid by the government. Something like that. Like, bro, I work the same as you. We do the same job, you stupid idiot. But they feel like I get extra money for being here, which makes no bloody sense. Because what they listen, when you get into your echo chamber, you hear the same thing over and over again, and you believe it's true without you doing the research. And all these people signing all this petition or whatever, just believing what's happening is mental.
Or that they're the fall guys. Either way, there is no way that something like this could stand with a proper legal lens put on it and no dirty money thrown against it.
Now, we sent multiple questions to the spokespeople representing Care for Nashville about this story, and they...
My guy's got no eyebrows like me, bruv. I don't know what it is about, you know, about us sometimes where we don't have eyebrows. Look at him. Is it? There's nothing there. But I can't laugh at him because I don't have any either. I'm eyebrow free.
He sent back a statement refusing to answer those questions. As for the petition, those signatures are due this September. Now, if you signed and felt misled, you can submit written notice to Metro Clerk's office requesting your name to be removed from the petition after it's been turned in. Well,
but who's gonna do that? Anybody got time for that? You just be like, ah, it is what it is. I'm gonna sit down, write a letter to the thing and say, hey, can you remove my name from the... Put a website up so I can click on it in 2 seconds.
I have more information for you on our website at newschannel5.com.
Again, a round of applause should be given to News Channel 5 for doing real investigative journalism that, let's be honest, most national, international, and local news stations seemingly shy away from. And good on them as well for giving people the opportunity to know, hey, if you signed this and you didn't realize what you were signing, here's how you get your name off of it. I don't know how much that's really going to help, just because a lot of people might not even know what they signed and might not even see this.
Yeah, they don't know.
This has went
They're just signing their lives away.
Well over 100,000 views last time I checked on YouTube. Adam Stern has picked up on it, and it's really looking like this is taking off. I think the anti-racing side bit off way more than they could chew this time, thinking they could get away with whatever they want, and instead, this is going to be one of probably the biggest they want.
I was going to see the apartment block. Oh, this is the one we were talking about. This building is a apartment block. So people living here, all you need to know is, okay, maybe they can't see the football match itself because it's a bit of a similar height, maybe, or maybe you can see one side of the thing, you can't see the whole match. But anybody living on this side, they're watching free races all day long. I'll just be sat in the balcony like, man, what racing we got going on today, man? Hell yeah, that's sick. I would love to be there. I would love for that to be my apartment right there. But anyway, this one right here, long live the what do I call it? The fairground. Long live the fairground. I don't want them to take it down. I don't have no affiliation with it, but you know, it will be sad.
This is gonna be
the rich man is able to get his way with it. You know? I love myself if I was living there. Yeah, the sounds would be annoying. Nah, but the windows usually are thick enough to like block it out, no? You get some triple glazing, quadruple glazing so that the noise don't come in. And if you want the noise, you open the window and you get all the noise. You know what I'm saying? But yes, we're going to end it here, guys, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining me. There's a record-breaking number of people on this stream today. I appreciate y'all. We need to do this more. Maybe Saturdays when I'm not doing much. I'm usually free Saturdays. We can check out some other videos. I'll make a proper list because today I wasn't really thinking about it until the last moment. Then I thought, oh shoot, let me do it. So we're gonna make proper lists. I might make a request for people to drop suggestions so we can go through those lists and watch those videos. Yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. I wasn't expecting this many people here. Thank you guys for joining in and liking the videos. I think there is 27 likes. That's probably the most I've ever seen on this channel. I appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, we'll be back again and we'll probably do more of this in the future. Twin spinner with a gift. Hey, W, appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Yeah, next time we'll hang out more and obviously I could chat rubbish a bit more. So take it easy, ladies and gents. Have a wonderful day. Hey, another W by Snapback. I'll see you next time, Flex. Hey, I'll see you. I don't know when the next time will be, but we'll figure it out. I'm out on a wedding next Saturday, but maybe Sunday again. We'll see. Take it easy. Have a wonderful weekend, guys. See ya. Goodbye. Peace. Nearly 3 hours. We were champs out here, guys. We were champs. Off season.